Good evening. This is the meeting of the Groton Board of Education being held on October 27th, 2025 at a little after 6:01 at the central office. It's being held in person and the meeting is being held online. It's a regular Board of Ed meeting. In attendance today we have, for board members, we have Sean Corcoran. Did I pronounce it right? We have Jen White, Dr. Andrea Ackerman, Adrian Johnson, and Ian Thomas. And then for our central office staff, we have Dr. Ann Marie Mancini, Susan Austin, the esteemed Sam Kilpatrick, and Rita, and I'm going to mess up your last name, Rita. So,
Tarsiak.
okay, and Laura Cassini.
It's just the way it's spelled.
Yeah, just the way it's spelled.
So the first order, I don't know the young lady's
So this is
name.
Winter Davis. She's an 11th grader. We have two, or maybe even three 11th graders who will be coming in because these kids are the busiest kids we know, and they signed up to do one more thing. And we're just so happy to have Winter with us, and she'll learn all about it. So when she's in 12th grade, she'll just ride right in knowing it.
Okay, well, welcome aboard, Winter. Glad to have you tonight.
And Mike
Oh,
Whitney is online.
Mike Whitney's online, and that's it. Let me write that down. And the first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item on the agenda is recognition and participation of visitors and delegations. Do you have any visitors?
You ready now? Sorry, it looks dramatic, but it's not.
Oh, are you going to do citizens' comments?
Oh, sorry, yes, I'm not a visitor from the delegation. Okay. Well, I'm a visitor.
Okay. Tonight we are going to have the retirement of Raheem Carter's number 7 jersey. And because he went to Fitch Middle School, I asked Dr. A to read the proclamation because she happened to be the assistant principal or the principal at the time Raheem went to Fitch Middle School. He was a student there and he graduated there and went up to the high school. So because of that, I've asked Dr. A to read the proclamation.
And I want to thank you, Beverly, for doing that. This is a great honor. And I know that you didn't want to ask me because I hate to read out loud. But for Raheem and his family, I would do anything. So, whereas Fitch football Falcon jersey number 7 was last worn in competition by Raheem Carter, the late twin brother of state trooper and former Groton City Councilor Rashad Carter. Whereas Raheem Carter was a 2000 Fitch High School graduate and 3 years smarter quarterback and captain of not only the football team, but also the indoor and outdoor track teams. And whereas in his senior year, Raheem Carter led the Fitch football team to its first state championship in over 20 years. And whereas Raheem Carter graduated as the all-time ECC leader in career touchdown passes and earned a football scholarship to the University of Rhode Island, completing his degree in 2005. And whereas after graduating, Raheem Carter was hired with the London Police Department, fulfilling his lifelong dream to be an officer. And whereas, due to Raheem Carter's achievements and inspiration to the community, Fitch High School athletes immediately voted him to the Wall of Fame. And whereas it became the custom for players not to wear jersey 7 after Raheem Carter passed away in 2007 from his battle with cancer. And now, therefore, be it resolved that jersey will be officially retiring in honor of former Fitch football player Raheem Carter at the Fitch High School versus Waterloo High School football game on October 30th, 2025.
And I've known, I knew Raheem since he was about 40 years old, and I've seen him grow up, him and his brother, so this is really nice. Long time in making it happen. The Carter family didn't push the issue. They were, nobody wore his jersey anyway since he passed away, but since Rashad's brother, not Rashad's brother, Rashad's son Porter is graduating, they wanted to do it this year. So, any comments on this?
Just that was Raheem and Rashad were wonderful students, wonderful young men. And it's very hard to read this. But
I would just like to say that I'd like to thank the chair for granting my request to bring this resolution forward. Thank you.
Excuse me, Beverly.
Yes?
Since Andrea read the motion, I believe we need a second.
It's not a motion. We're not voting on it. We're just recognizing that we're retiring his jersey on October 30th at the football game.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. The next person I'd like to recognize is Ernie Kashmita, because tomorrow night he's going to be awarded the Director of the Year award for being the Director of the Year, Director for the Food Service. So he's getting a big award tomorrow night at Foxwoods from the School Nutrition Association of Connecticut. So congratulations, Ernie. And I think Susan will be going.
Sam?
I think I'm
Yeah,
going up
looking
there
forward
too.
to, yeah.
Yeah. So congratulations, Ernie. And the next item is comments from citizens in regard to agenda items and other subjects of concern that lie within the jurisdiction of the Board of Education. This is the portion of the agenda where the board welcomes comments from citizens. Each presentation should be limited to 5 minutes or less, and citizens should, if possible, submit written comments. Presentations should be related to matters pertinent to Groton. Board members will only ask questions in order to clarify the speaker's presentation and cannot respond during comments of citizens portion of the board meeting. Citizens should make their presentations from the podium and state their names and address for the record. Now.
Sorry. I promise I won't take any more than 5 minutes. Very fast. My name is Heather Capalvo. I'm on Fox Run Lane. Can you guys just take one and pass it? Sure. I looked for who to send stuff to ahead of time, but I didn't know who to send stuff to. I would have given it to you guys ahead of time. So I'm Heather Capalvo. I live on Fox Run Lane. I've been in this. We've lived here since 2005, but I've been in the school district since 2015 when my son started kindergarten at NEA. So I've been here a long time. Really, I've spent 10 years following your agendas and your meetings and things. You guys have to keep track of a lot of things, I think is kind of the conclusion that we came to. So if you just go to page 2 here, I'm here for robotics, just because there's a lot of movement and things going on with that. So just wanted to throw a couple pictures in if you haven't seen them of the kids doing their thing. And then next page 2. So the existing building, Pleasant Valley, they were there from 2017 forward. Lots of ideas of what to do with that building and the team. So then I just wanted to show you the kids working hard in the team there. And then packing and moving. So this summer, a lot of the kids gave up their time and went to Pleasant Valley and were packing and moving and building crates and all the things that if you've ever moved to a different house, it's kind of like that, but everything's heavier because it's solid, right? So they made crates, they labeled things, they were moving, on dollies and whatnot, and moved everything to the gym. So kind of just want to take that minute to appreciate those kids for coming out for that. So then we have the new space, which is coming along. So we're just, waiting on equipment and things to get delivered. Things are there now, so the top picture there on page 5 is before we started organizing it. Parents and the team have done small trips for any of that stuff. Moving things, sorting stuff, still trying to get some work done, in the chaos. And then for the timeline. So, because it's a full-year sport and it's kind of a full-year activity, it was more complicated than I ever thought it was. So I just wrote it down. This one's two-sided. All right, we just made, one more page to take one and pass down. Apologies. So I just kind of wanted to give you guys the steps, just so it's kind of in writing here, because I really needed to write it down for myself. So really, if you look at the calendar, we're about 5 weeks behind schedule, I'd say, at the moment, for what we normally would get done. The kids need training, safety training required by first before we do that. Before they're allowed to touch anything, obviously there's tools that they can, lose things, and we don't want them to. There's a curriculum that has to get trained for programming and CAD and all that, that they can't just learn on the fly. They have to learn it ahead of time. They also get trained, on all the stuff, the mechanics, the equipment, the budgeting, all that stuff, which, along with your plans, is great for their future careers. We like them to have life skills as well. This year, I think we're going to show them how to check oil and change it and stuff. So, so sports terms, I wanted to put in sports terms because sometimes that's easier. We're more used to that schedule. The safety training is like preseason practice, stuff the kids do over the summer. The regular programming and machine and all that training is kind of like the equivalent of practice and games. And then build season, which is in January, is playoffs, basically, because it's a very short amount of time to get a lot of things done. So I just wanted to, you have the long schedule, but I just wanted to get that out there. And then on the last page, I wanted to thank everyone for working so hard, to get it done. It's, wonderful kids. We want them to get the chance to have a great season. And then I just wanted to show you quickly, they started writing down what robotics means to them. So I won't torture you, but it's kid handwriting. But they, they started just writing down all the things that it meant to them. So I wanted you guys to know that it makes a difference. It makes a difference in their lives. They have something to look forward to and something to be good at when, so it makes a difference. So I just wanted you to see.
Read a couple of them.
Okay, so a couple of them. So they learn about teams, teamwork. They learn.
Just don't step too far from the mic.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Oh, sure. Yeah. So, they have scholarship opportunities, real job skills. They learn leadership, creativity, professionalism, working on spelling, safety. They learn about community. They learn cooperation. You won't know what that is. That's a very specific robotics term. They build confidence, life skills, career opportunities, resilience, time management, because they only have 6 weeks to get a lot done. And then in the place that we do, the first 200 Fortune 500 companies are part of the organization. So they meet people and get jobs later on, which is great. Inclusion, problem solving, and collaboration. So they get a lot out of it. Thank you very much. So they get a lot out of it, and I just wanted you guys to, hear that from them, because they can't be here because they should be hopefully unpacking more things. And then this one I won't pass out, but the students did make this for themselves, their own timeline, so I have a couple. I can leave them for you. But this is something they worked on, in a design program to kind of have their own idea of the timeline so they could see if they were on par or on goal or not. So, but thank you. So again, I just wanted to kind of give you guys what the schedule actually, what it looks like to us, and show our appreciation for the hard work.
Thank you.
And that's
Thank you very much. Yeah, clarifying question. Just asking, has the heavy equipment been moved yet?
I'll be leaving here to go there, so I don't know. No. Not yet. Not yet. And I put a lot of things in the back of my car, but those might push it.
Yet
What's
for
that?
the moving of the heavy equipment?
I don't know yet. I think only a couple companies can do it, so because it's specialty. That part, details that part, I'm not really sure. We've moved the small stuff that we
As of right
can.
now, there's no date that's set
Not that I know of.
for the movement of the heavy
Not that I'm aware of, but just a parent, so I don't get all the info. But all right, but the other stuff is okay. Thank you. Like I said, I'm going to head there
Thank you.
and see if they're good. Okay, thank you very much.
Appreciate you.
I love the pictures. Yes, I do know that.
Good evening. Chairperson Washington, Superintendent Austin, distinguished members of the board, my name is Kellen Voland. I live at 195 Michelle Lane in Groton. I'm a graduate of Fitch High School from 2002. I was at Cutler before it met its demise. And I was in the Navy for 21 years, retired 2 years ago. Now I'm in law school, and I come to you tonight for two reasons. The first is I had some concerns that I sent this board about the Title IX process in Groton. I was met with an immediate response to that email from Superintendent Austin, who sat down with me and implemented a reasonable and logical plan for the students at Fitch High School. So I thank you, Superintendent Austin, for that and for that communication. Because without that, I feared that other families who could be in a position, an unfortunate position, to be the subject of a Title IX investigation may not have been appropriately heard or may not be heard in the future. And I come to this board tonight to discuss a couple of issues, but a couple of recommendations. One, I was concerned about the lack of communication from the Title IX coordinator to my family. That communication only got better with direct involvement from the high school and from Superintendent Austin. I worry about the implementation of Title IX policies that leaves families of victims and victims themselves confused, disillusioned, and unrepresented. It should not take the superintendent of schools and the Board of Education to make our students, who at Fitch High School should be proud of their school, it should not take their direct involvement for that to be the case for something so serious, especially in times like these. Threats of violence, when threats of violence are made in the school atmosphere and in the school setting, and when they're made off campus and they cause a substantial disruption to the learning environment, the district, I would expect, would take direct action to prevent physical violence, whether it be a weapon or something else, if they know of the threat. Unfortunately, that's not the case with sexual violence. And the manner and method by which that violence occurs should not determine whether or not people feel safe in school and what action the district takes. And I completely recognize the elements of due process. I recognize the elements of limited and evidentiary discovery. I also recommend the Title IX strictures that require a full investigation. But I additionally recommend further steps that this board, and specifically Superintendent Austin, that I have talked with her, that could, within the guidance of Title IX, could implement. Those are a complete review of the Title IX investigation process. Number one, again, this should not fall upon the heavy shoulders of the superintendent. There should be a dedicated, completely, excuse me, sorry. It should not be a collateral duty to be the Title IX coordinator for something that affects so many of our students. And as we see now with the proliferation of social media and other comments that are made online, our women, our young ladies, our young falcons, our boys, and our young men should all feel safe going to school. So I encourage a review of the Title IX process in accordance with Title IX, Connecticut state law, as well as Groton public school policy. Second, I highly encourage the Title IX coordinator to have in-person meetings with the families of victims to allow them to understand whatever concerns they have, to help them gain a clear path and understanding of what this process could and should look like. That would include things like student record privacy, due process, safety measures. I commend the high school for implementing safety measures immediately. However, one of the biggest safety measures was not implemented, and the reasons that were given were unsatisfactory until, once again, the superintendent of schools had to insert herself personally to make sure that children felt safe at school. Additionally, there is a step, and it's considered a risk assessment step, but it's called an individualized risk assessment, and it's in the Groton Public School policy. It's also in Title IX. It's my contention that every Title IX allegation should include an automatic individualized risk assessment. And it is the parents of the survivors, the parents of the victims, who should be allowed to know that that risk assessment was done, because it is their children that are at risk. Certainly it's the school environment, but these children are at risk. An automatic individualized risk assessment would give the school the proper tools it needs to make decisions about the safety of its students and its classrooms, as well as school-based and sponsored activities that happen outside of the school hours. An individualized risk assessment evaluates the threat to victims, the safety to the school, and gives results provided to families or to victims and their families. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a lot on your plates, and your number one priority at Groton Public Schools is to build an excellent learning environment. That is your motto. An excellent learning environment. I'm the product of an excellent learning environment. Both of my daughters will be products of that excellent learning environment. I hope that under Superintendent Austin's leadership and following her example, that Title IX investigations, which should hold preeminence of concern for our victims, for our families, and for our school, I should hope that this board, as well as anyone else involved in the policy making, does a clear and a thoughtful review of how we can best implement Title IX policies under federal law, but do so while making sure that victims and their families feel heard, feel seen, feel represented, and most of all, feel safe. I thank you for your time. I will stand by afterwards for questions.
Thank you. Do you have anything written that you can have?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
The next item is response to comments from citizens.
I just want to thank our speakers for coming out tonight, and appreciate the effort and thoughtfulness that put into both presentations.
Anyone else? I'd like to thank you too. I just sent you an email.
You did, ma'am. I responded to it
Okay.
yesterday.
I didn't read the email today, so thank you for coming out. And I'm sure we'll make a referral to policy to look at the Title IX policies.
Yes, ma'am. And I'd be happy to offer support, viewpoints, recommendations in that process.
Mr. Thomas is the chair of the policy committee, so he can reach out to you.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Okay. I have your phone number, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you could just forward me the contact information, that'd be
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, next item is the student representative report. And we have Winter Davis and some other young lady that
That's
snuck in.
Akira.
I'm sorry.
There are ninth graders. I mean, 11th graders. What am I saying?
Hello, everyone. So, in the beginning of October, we had homecoming, which had a great turnout. We had over 500 students come out to homecoming, which was great. We also held PSATs on October 8th. And it was our first time having regular classes right after PSATs, since normally we have half days. We did have some mixed reviews about that from the students. And then tomorrow we are hosting student-led 8th grade tours, and later this week we'll have parent-teacher conferences. As we wrap up the month, we are coming to the end of quarter one.
And then as far as athletics, our athletic teams have been doing very well. Our football team currently has a record of 3 wins, 3 losses, and we have a home game on Thursday against Waterford. We also have our girls volleyball team, and they competed in their ECC tournament last week, as well as our boys soccer team. They played in the quarterfinals against Bacon Academy last week as well. And then we also have had several ECC Athlete of the Week nominees, as well as a few winners. Our clubs are also thriving as well. Our drama club is hosting a show. They're performing Erie Academy this week on October 31st at 2:30 and on November 1st at 7 o'clock. And they are inviting audiences to come in Halloween costumes. And there is a purchase for admission, $5 for students, $10 for adults. And then last week, we also had the opportunity, Winter and I were given the opportunity to attend the Martin Luther King Jr. Scholarship Dinner. And that was a great experience. I was grateful to be invited to see all of the students who were given the opportunity to receive this scholarship. It was great to see the leaders that are our age thriving, and I looked up to those students and hoping that I can also be one of those next year as well. While our school has been doing pretty well this school year so far, we do have a few concerns. One being how our advanced classes aren't as diverse as we would love. I am a person that is involved in taking AP classes and honors classes, and I have noticed that there isn't as much diversity as I would love, and it made me think if there was some barrier that created that, whether if it was miscommunication, certain students didn't know, or if they just felt that they weren't capable enough to take those courses. I'm not exactly sure how we can go about trying to help that situation, but I just figured I would bring that up because it's something that I noticed. And then we also have been having combined CTO days on Wednesdays of each week. So CTO is it's like a homeroom study hall that we have in the middle of the day, every single day during the week. On Wednesdays, they are combined with juniors and freshmen, and sophomores and seniors. That day is to kind of build a mentorship role, except it's not necessarily being used in that way. It's kind of segregated. One side of the classroom is the underclassmen, other side is the upperclassmen, and they aren't really collaborating or talking to each other. So we came up with an idea of potentially creating support groups within that to kind of use that space for good. We were thinking of choosing certain student leaders that were upperclassmen and having them get assigned to certain underclassmen, and they can just have a simple conversation with them, checking on them to see if they need any assistance with school, friends, or anything, because freshman and sophomore years is definitely rough for those students, so we felt that it would benefit if we potentially started creating those as well.
Any questions?
Well, I do have a question. Are you applying? The two of you are. You both applying?
Good.
And the other thing is, who did you listen to? You listened to the scholars. The 8th graders heard those scholars. So first of all, go home and start writing your speech just like Brian told you to do. And secondly, you have more influence than any of us has with your classmates. You need to go out and say, hey, why are you in this class? Why are you taking this with me? That's how your classmates are going to, you are the ones they're going to listen to. They're not listening to us, are they? They are not, no. So you go out, get your buddies, and you all go out, and you say, you can do this, get over here. And don't mess around. You use that tone that I just used. And if you're a scholar, you'll know that. So. And you'll hear it every Saturday.
Dean.
I'm curious to know, and you can be as frank as you want to be about this. It's a sensitive topic, and it's something it's been sort of been a thread in education for decades, I'm sure more than a century, and that is, do you detect any sort of an anti-intellectual or anti-intellect strain, a thought, a pressure? There's always been this. Sometimes there's more of it, sometimes there's less of it. In other words, oh, don't be such a geek, right? But for the last, 25, 30 years, the geeks have ruled the world because we've got all these fabulous inventions. But at least when I went to school, if you were a geek or a dweeb or whatever, you were in a distinct social minority. And it cut across all kinds of socioeconomic levels. But, those kids, they're the ones going to MIT, they stink. We don't want them in our group kind of thing. So there's pressure, and if you're like most kids, you want to belong, right? So I know that historically a lot of girls have tried to dumb themselves down because they're afraid they may not be able to get a date from a guy because no guy wants to be shown up by his girlfriend, right? That kind of thing. There's all sorts of things in the mix. Do you detect any sort of an anti-intellect strain that may be keeping kids away from the higher level courses? Gee, I'd like to take AP, but what will my other friends think of me if I do that?
It possibly could, like you were saying, certain students might feel that taking those certain courses would make them look less cool in their friend group.
Right.
So they instead push themselves back instead of choosing those higher level courses so they can seem equal and fit in their group of.
Right. Is there a lot of that? You think that might be a factor in this?
It could possibly.
Yeah. I'm not sure how you rub that out, frankly. That's you're talking about a mass of people.
Wait one second.
I'm sorry. I'm so passionate about this.
No, I'm done. I think we've had a good, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Dr. A.
They're going to be cool if they're like you. So you've got to do that. You've got to make them get rid of that idea that it's uncool to do that, because you're not uncool, and they will see that, and that's why it's really on your shoulders, and you've got to make everybody feel uncool and get those kids out there, even kids that think that they're just average. Trust me, because they're not just average. I know that. Okay, I'll be quiet.
No,
Sorry.
you're not.
I'll be quiet.
I thought we were doing better with getting a little diversity.
We have been doing better. Carmita Hodge has really spearheaded the Black Student Union and More Than Words, Carly Rising, and so that they've really spoken up, and that's exactly what they did. They, just like Dr. Ackerman said, they've tapped each other on the shoulders. They've gone into CTL and said, you can do this. Join up. And we've changed policies so there aren't like the roadblocks that used to be there for, you only had to, you had to have this, and this in order to. But the board has done a great job taking those barriers
It's
away.
gotten a lot better.
But it still can improve.
Yes.
I agree. So Ms. Hodge is on this, so give her, go see her. She is.
Tell me again your idea for CTL.
So we were thinking of essentially choosing student leaders that were upperclassmen, so juniors and seniors, and having them get assigned to a few underclassmen students, and they can either group up in a little group where they can have one-on-one conversation, and they can talk to them about certain things that are going on, whether it's academics or social life, sports, or anything. And I feel that having that would be very beneficial because certain people feel like they don't have anyone to talk to. So having a peer would potentially help them feel a little better about whatever situation's going on.
And this would happen in the CTO class?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
At the moment, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. At the moment, we have teacher kind of conferences with the students, so we find that having a student-to-student
I like
conversation
that.
would be more beneficial.
I like that. Thank you.
Did you talk to Mr. Brown about
Yeah,
this?
talk to Mr. Brown.
You did already?
Yes, and he liked the idea.
Yeah, he did. He told me about it, that you guys came to him. Thank you.
So what's the next step for him, did he say? I mean, I like the idea, but then what happens?
We should definitely meet with him again and think of next steps on how we can perform that.
I think so too.
Dean?
Yeah, superintendent mentioned removing obstacles. There's, at least I thought, there were reasons why there were prerequisites for certain higher-level courses because you wanted the students taking those courses to actually have a good chance to succeed. It's wonderful to get a student into a course and say, hey, guess who's taking the course? But frankly, if they're going to flail and fail, I mean, I think psychologically you put the kid in an even worse position than they were in before. Better that they hadn't taken an AP course, they're going to flunk it. So really, this goes, to me, goes beyond just how many kids can we get into, I'm going to use AP against it, IB. How many kids can we get into, AP courses? This has to go, the roots have to go deeper. The kids have to be prepped and ready to take that if they want to take it, whether it's AP math or AP whatever. So I just don't want to look at the stats. I'd like to know how many kids are taking, how many kids are succeeding, and we all know not everybody, because not all children are quote above average, as they say in the story. Like Wobegon. I think we saw stats once. How many kids take? How many are doing reasonably well? How many are taking the AP exam? You don't have to take the AP exam. That's what I want to know. Otherwise, what we're doing is we're giving ourselves a gold star, not really looking what's underneath.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll just say I appreciate you coming forward and bringing forth these the ideas, and my colleagues have already asked a number of the key questions that I would have asked, and so I appreciate all that. Would be very curious to track the progress of, I guess, call it, for lack of a better term, a mentor program of sorts, because I can see a lot of potential there, as a great positive potential. Especially when you think about pairing and how to rotate the pairings to make sure people get a mix of mentorship perspectives. So I look forward to seeing that develop, and I thank you all for bringing that idea forward. Right. One question about higher level courses. Have you heard much commentary about, as of right now, we don't have honors level courses in grades 11 and 12. They can sort of jump from honors to AP or IB.
Yes.
Have you heard much commentary from your classmates, or your schoolmates, I should say, about maybe a desire to have the honors as like a middle road option in the higher level courses, in the higher grades?
I personally haven't heard anything new as well. So.
No? Okay. I'm just asking. Yeah. Thank
I
you.
think it would be a little beneficial because, like in 9th and 10th grade, they had the honors and the molecular level, and then it was the large jump. So I believe, like for history, for example, I have been hearing people saying that they've been struggling in like AP government, for example. They haven't mentioned anything about them preferring an honors level, but maybe that would benefit them a little bit,
Right.
because it's the AP government or it's civics is the other option, and civics is only a half-year class, So then they would have to take another course in order to get all the courses they needed for social studies. So if we did happen to have a honors or a regular level, maybe possibly government, that would possibly be beneficial.
All right. Well, thank you for your feedback. Appreciate it.
Now, you were 11th graders?
Yes.
Okay. So the board has some committees. We have policy, curriculum, finance and facilities, and I'm missing one, I think. Anyway, feel free if you want to join one of those committees, or if we have anything that is student related, maybe we can call on you to come to one of the committee meetings and chime in.
I'd love to.
Okay, good. All right, we have your phone numbers, I hope.
I do, I can get to them,
Okay.
and their emails, yep.
All
We
right.
got- No, we have their emails, yep.
All right, well, thank you.
Oh, I was just going to say thank you for coming out. I'm very impressed with your idea, and you've got great administration to work with on that. So I'm curious to see how that works out. Peer mentoring, I think could be really beneficial to a lot of kids, and probably make some real change. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
When you come to the next board meeting, I don't know if you'll be coming, but when you come again, or if you don't come, if the seniors come, let them know how the peer mentoring suggestion is going, so they can report back to the board in November how that idea is progressing. Okay? All right. All right.
And that is, seek out Lauren, Jeremiah, Nicholas, and Jillian. Seek them out and talk to them. Talk to them about the whole process of applying and then preparing for I'm not going to say you get the scholarship. I say when you get the scholarship.
Yeah.
Seek them out, and I'll email Ms. Hodge and say make sure that happens. You can't come.
Talk to them about your mentoring idea, too,
Yes.
because there's strength in numbers.
Right.
And can I just add one more thing? One of the most beautiful ecumenical services is on Martin Luther King's birthday at St. James. And all the scholars from the region are, present, they sing, they say poems, they, really, it's a real ecumenical service, and it's beautiful. So even if, the whole community's welcome. So we'll get that out in board notes, and maybe even Matt can send it out, News from the Nest. I'll ask him.
The Sunday of Martin Luther King weekend, it's at St. James Church in London. Get there. Ask Lauren or any of the other scholars if you can go with them. See what it's like. It's fabulous.
And they feed you, too. They give you lunch.
Okay, now you have a little pressure.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that, but you have a little pressure. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the superintendent and assistant superintendent report.
Okay. And
Ian, you got his contact already?
Yes.
Okay. You can't contact him until you're going to talk about that policy, okay? Because that's what I asked him to help with, the policy.
Right. I understand that.
all right, so we worked with Lauren, our student data manager, on the enrollment, and we've put together a presentation very similar to what we did last year, and she's going to highlight some of the areas. She's disaggregated the data in lots of different ways so you can see our enrollment. It is down from last year, and I did put a call into Miranda Chapman to check on the subs. Nothing is going to be leaving, and she's going to try to verify and get more information about any potentials that might be coming our way. But we did have about 50 students who signed on for homeschooling this year. And I think that's kind of a state and national trend that's happening. And we had some more out-of-district placements, so through the different inter-district magnet schools. So I'm just going to say that as a precursor. Thank you. Good night.
Okay, so.
Microphone.
Thank you. Sorry about that. So our enrollment
packet that entails a pretty complex process, and it's ongoing year-round. We're constantly monitoring and registering and exiting students both inter-district and intra-district, meaning students coming into our district and students that live within Groton and maybe going to magnet schools outside of our district. We do have overlapping management systems, which means for the majority of a school year, we are working from more than one system. As an example, we are currently in our 25-26 registration portal. That's one system we're using. And within the next 2 months, we'll be opening up next year's for students registering for school next year. So we'll be juggling those two systems. There's many variables that we do need to be monitoring on a regular basis, and that includes magnet seats, movement between magnet schools, highly mobile students, or as in transient students, as we are a transient district, and we know this. Building grade level capacity and enrollment helps us to determine placement of students. And really the purpose of monitoring these systems is to have a better understanding of how to identify the needs of the district, secure appropriate resources where necessary. We do have some specialized programs that are housed in certain buildings. We always are looking at all of the variables that go into running a district and who our students are. And the critical work that we do, it's really proactive planning for short and long-term initiatives that may be existing. Grants we may be trying to secure, as an example, impact aid. Our enrollment is significantly important to that. And then strengthening our community partnerships and leaning into them to help us with the work and getting more students registered, especially like our little ones who are new to the district or new to school in general may not have some insight on that yet. So all of these things are constantly in motion and changing, and nothing's ever stable, right? Like it's constantly changing. Okay. And so, as a comparison for our basic enrollment for elementary, you can see last year's enrollment numbers from our snapshot date, which, as a reminder, we send our data to the state on October 1, and that's called our snapshot. We have one in October. We also have one in June that we take. And so we obviously we'd like to compare apples with apples. So for purposes of today, we're looking at October 1 snapshot of last year versus October 1 snapshot of this year. And this is what our enrollment looks like in comparison. As Superintendent Austin said, we are down. Our enrollment has declined some. More or less, the trend is across most of the buildings. I believe GMS is the only one that may be up some. The biggest hits were to Northeast this year and Thames River, which got the state of almost 40 students. I think it's important to also note that these aren't necessarily the same 40 students, but just a capture of actual numbers, because of that fluid movement that occurs. Okay. These numbers have changed a little even since October 1st. So as an example, Mystic River, they're only down about 5 students from last year on October 1. So, that's a fluctuation that will continue as well. Secondary, Groton Middle, like I said, they were up some. I believe they're up even more at this point. I think they're up like 5 or 6 students from last year on October 1. Fitch High School is down as well. And then when you're looking at other placements, I just want to help you understand what that means. So when we talk about other placements, that's within the district. So we do have some other programs. So we have what we call New Beginnings, which is housed up at the high school. We have our Transition Academy, which is housed here at Central Office. And our Central Office Academy is also housed out here. So those would be considered the other placements that are within the district. And so even that we're down just a few there. And then when we look at our out-of-district students, so those are the students that are outplaced for one reason or another. Those are our inter-district magnet students, meaning students that could potentially be going to marine science or to Grosso Tech, that's where that number comes from. Okay. And so a total, we are down about 150 kids, 151, since the same time last year. By grade level, and I tried to create this with your feedback from last year in mind, so again, it's always good to get that at the end, so that if there's anything else that needs to be included, I like to make sure that's included the following year, or get given to you later on in the week. But our grade level data from this past October, you can see by grade level what our current enrollment is, where there's some dips, which look very similar to last year. At that high school level, we see a little drop. Our highest grade this year is fourth grade. Overall, it has our highest enrollment. And so the next slide, when we saw it, I'm not sure if you what is this, or if it made complete sense. That was the feedback from people I would share it with. It was either yes or no, so I'm hoping this made sense. But I was really curious because we were down over 150 kids, like where were we seeing those drops in numbers? And so what you're looking at here is that transition from one grade to the next. So as an example, from grade 1 of last year to grade 2 of this year, we had a pretty decent drop. We have 29 less students in that same cohort than we did the year before. So you can see that grade 1 to 2, grade 8 to 9, and grade 9 to 10 are the places we've seen the most significant losses in terms of enrollment. What's interesting is of the first and second graders, first going into second grade, those students, the majority of them, almost 70% of those students moved out of state. So we can contribute that. I mean, we could make assumptions that maybe that was a high military district grade level, and then we had that movement out. We also had from grade 8 to 9, those were, let me pull up my numbers for you, because now I'm forgetting. From grade 8 to 9, 33% were out of state, and then 53% of those were out of the district, meaning they either left Groton to go elsewhere in London, Norwich, so out of the town, or they left to go to a magnet school, which we would kind of expect as they're choosing their path, right? And they're interested in one over another. They may choose that magnet school there. And then the same thing with 9 to 10. There was a higher retention rate from grades 9 to 10. So that did play into that number a little bit. Also homeschooling. We had, the greatest was in grade 8, kids who transferred to homeschooling. And 41% of the moves, grade 9 to 10, 31% were out of state from grade 9 to 10. So a good portion of those, and that's out of a number of reasons, and we track that by exit code. So that could include, transferring to a private school or parochial school. It could be moving out of state, like I said, or moving out of district into a different county or town. So there's a multitude. There's literally like 15 to 18 reasons as to why a student might leave our district. But those are the bulk of it is moving out of state is top of the list.
Lauren, you don't often see students at the 12th grade level coming into the district. It looks to me, if I'm reading your chart correctly, that we acquired 13 students in the 12th grade. Is that due to military reasons, or I'm just wondering?
Yeah. So I only have the exit codes with me. I need to verify that, but I'm going to assume that is because of military moves. But let me verify that for you. But we did get a bump from in 12th grade. Yeah.
And I'd just like to add, we do have our ninth graders, 8th to 9th, have a lot of choice. Grasso is very popular, and I know that Grasso sometimes will put kids on a wait list, and so even when they're in 9th grade, I've had a couple kids who've decided to go to Grasso the following year. Marine science is a very popular choice. It's a smaller building, smaller school. The agriculture at Ledyard, and then New London has a STEM program. So kids in our district in southeastern Connecticut do have choices, and they do make those choices. Yeah.
For a good reason. Going back to the 12th grade, though, we also have policies in place that help our kids stay in their 12th grade year, that military-related students who do move to a different town for one reason or another but would like to remain, they're allowed to by policy for 12th grade year because that's a huge transition. So that could also play into this as well. We're not losing as many kids. So we're getting new ones, but we're not losing the way we are in other grade levels, if that makes sense. In terms of...
One second, 8 minutes.
Oh, I was just going to ask for clarification. So the students that are leaving between 8th and 9th grade, we have 53. That's 53 more than we had the year before? So it would have been, in total number, because I know that we normally have a drop of somewhere around 50 students, right, that go to magnet schools and other schools. So this would mean that increased substantially from the year before?
Wait, I'm not following the question.
So normally between 8th and 9th grade, we lose a lot of students that go to magnet schools, right? So that's we expect that, right? Like something like 40, I think I remember hearing.
Yeah, and so that's what you're looking at here. The students from 8th grade to 9th grade were 53 students less than we had the year before. Like that cohort of 8th graders going to 9th grade, that number had dropped by 50.
So it's 53 additional.
No, total.
That we lost.
All right, but not so we would say that number would have been similar the year before.
Most likely, yeah. That one doesn't necessarily surprise me because of that choice. The one that really stood out to me was that 1st to 2nd grade, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to look at that a little closer, and when I did, I realized that most of those moves were out of state. A good majority of them were, which was interesting.
Sharon has a question.
What kind of information is collected when you're talking to families about moving out of state, or is there reasons other than just moving out of state? Do they give additional information that you guys can use to kind of help make improvements?
It's a loaded question. Not really. We do, so there's different times of the year we collect different types of information. So we do have, like in the spring, we're trying to plan ahead for the next year. We have what's called an intent to return form.
Okay.
And so there's a little more wiggle room on that for families to explain, are they planning to return or are they not? Do you expect to be moving before the next school year, and then the why. But we are required to exit them, and we do have to provide a code to the state to account for every child that leaves our district. So they do provide us with that information of the why they're moving. But where they're going, like if they're saying they're moving out of state, do they necessarily need to tell us it's a military move, it's a move for a job? No, they don't.
Yeah, so really what I'm trying to figure out is, are they leaving, say, in 1st and 2nd grade? Is it for the military purpose or because they're not happy with the education they're receiving?
Well, if they're moving out of state, there's probably some other reason other than the education. I would assume it's job related, it's, a financial situation, it's military, it's something along those lines.
Can I add, John, too, I believe that affordable housing can be a problem. We have this triangle of Norwich, New London, and Groton. We've talked about that, and homelessness. And so it is an issue when they're trying to find affordable houses. And even with some of the apartments, they may not be affordable.
Yeah.
But it's becoming less affordable. So there's a lot of transitioning in that corridor.
Jen has a question, and then
It's for Susan. Do you know if we're getting another boat coming in? Could this be an impact of maybe a boat leaving?
I've asked Miranda, and she's looking into that. She knows that no one is scheduled out, and the Columbia class, while it's being built, they're going to have these 690 families reporting in and out over the next years. But a Columbia class is too big to park it in our parking lot in the Thames. So they would go to Georgia, they would go to Seattle, Washington, they'd go other places. But during the period of build, they're here with us.
I think Lauren was shaking her head no to that question.
To what?
What was your question, Jen, again?
Do we know if there's like other boats coming in? Like, could this be an impact of like a boat just left and then, right?
We do have a little bit of an influx that happens towards the end of each year where families will move, but we haven't had any major shifts, and I don't, from what Miranda has said, and we're following up just to verify that again, there's none in the immediate future that will be, especially with, the state of our economy, that will be coming in or leaving. So,
And that could have been part of the slowdown, too.
Yeah.
What normally happens.
You done, Jen?
So, forgive me if you'd already accounted for this somehow, but I tallied up the bars, and I get 3615, and I can't match it to anything in the prior one. When it says district, you have district total of 3806. Altogether, if you count the out-of-district, it's 4310. So why don't the numbers match up as of October 1st, 2025?
for grade levels?
I was going to say, so this is K through 12. The bars are K through 12. I add them all up, and I get, like I said, 3615.
Page 5, right?
Yes.
So there's 191 pre-K and TK students that are not included on this. They're on the, so I separated the preschool pre-K out.
In other words,
This is only K-12.
I'm going to say, okay, so in other words, when you say elementary enrollment, when you look at the table on page 3, the tables on page 3 and 4,
That's it.
when you're referring to the elementary schools, it's not just K through 5, it's pre-K as well. So
Yes.
these numbers are larger.
Yes,
Is,
and I will fix that.
okay, so in other words, ideally, this chart would have below the K as well, and the numbers would tally up.
Yes,
Okay, so,
Another 191.
yes.
right, so it's safe to assume that so if I wanted to find out who is below kindergarten, I would subtract which of these two numbers, the 3806 or the 4310? Or I should subtract the 3615, I should say, the bars, as they sit now, K through 12. I'd subtract that from which number, 3806 or 4310?
3806, or you can go right to the next slide and.
Yeah, okay. So out of district, it makes sense. Out of district does not include anything below K. Okay, so 3806 is the number that's,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
Although we have to say that Learn has a very viable preschool program that our families do opt in, and now it's going to be continuous. I think pre-K through 1 or 2, it's going to grow all the way through, and then RMMS is going to shift towards more into the middle, so they'll have a complete pathway all the way through the high school.
So our district-wide early childhood enrollment numbers, I gave you June 1 snapshot because it was important to see we start our year for preschool a little lower than we end our year, and that's a trend that has existed for quite some time. You can note that we do have even a dip between our October 1 numbers of last year to October 1 of this year. Some things to note, October 1 of this year, there's been this shift in our preschool, pre-K, TK programming, where that has gone to full day, where last year pre-K was half day AM and PM sessions. This year we just have a full day session. So we've lost those sessions that could account for some of those extra students.
But we did fill them up. I think they are at 17, 18, so they are full. And typically, they aren't full in the beginning of the year, and they tend to fill up by the end of the year.
Right. that's where you're seeing that dip for October 1 of this year versus October 1 of last year. And it's a 44 student dip, and when you think about having the AM and PM sessions in Thames River and Mystic River, that pretty much accounts for that number of students.
What does the PSIS stand for?
Oh, that's our student information system.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry about that. And so here is just a makeup of race and ethnicity by school, our MA work counts. We asked for that last year. If we're looking as a district, our largest populations, we have 47% white as a district, with 27% Hispanic, Latino being the next largest group within our district. And our smallest one is our Native Hawaiian, and they account for less than 1% of the district currently.
Or other Pacific Islander. Is that what OPI?
Yes.
Yes. How nice.
I need to start, and I apologize for that, not including the acronym rather than the full.
Do we know whether the 9 actually are Hawaiian or Tahitian or Samoan or Filipino, possibly? I mean, what does other Pacific Islander include? You may not know that. I'm just curious now that we're on the topic. A lot of islands.
Yeah.
Does that include New Zealand?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. You made me nervous.
There's a federal clarification.
Oh, I know there's probably a definition that we're not, hasn't come down to us.
It'll come to me, I promise.
She'll find out.
American Samoan.
I was wondering, yeah.
And so what we consider, and this comes up a lot, especially with our summative assessments and how students are broken down, to look at them. Our high need subgroups, this is a comparison from last year to this year, and if you remember those students that fall into this, what we would call high needs group, are students with limited English proficiency, students with IEPs, so special education, and our economically disadvantaged students, so students that qualify or are eligible for free and reduced lunch. You can see, and the trend has been fairly consistent over time, over the last few years, that our percentage for limited English has stayed about the same. Same with special education. The one that fluctuates some back and forth is that economically disadvantaged. So you can see we had a bump from the same time last year when we reported out.
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Just back to the other slide, I just noticed that there's a row at the bottom that says other, as other facilities.
Other placements, so that would be the, I didn't want to separate them out into individual ones, so that would be like our New Beginnings, those 3 in-house programs.
Okay. Got it.
Transition, so other programs within the district.
But that number does not include the out-of-district.
No.
Yes, this is all in district.
That's all in district, yes.
I do have one question, if I might.
Yeah.
We have them broken down into separate categories. I believe we did this last year as well. But it's fair to assume that there is some overlap. You can't just add up the percentages and say, our limited English / special ed / economically disadvantaged is this group.
Yes.
There's got to be some overlap.
There is.
Right. I'm curious to know just if you know what, does that have to be teased out over the course of
I do. I
80
spent
hours?
time doing that for you, to be honest. I actually have a Venn diagram which was requested last year. It's not in the packet, and I will send it out to you tomorrow. I have a Venn diagram for you, so you can see that overlap.
Yeah, for what it's worth.
We appreciate you being on top of things.
I take the feedback very seriously. I want you to know. So I do it, or I'm happy to show it to you once we move through this. I can pull it up for you. And yes, there is some overlap, but it's interesting. It was not as great as I expected. There were only 30 students that fell into all 3 of those buckets, where we had our special education bucket and our free and reduced bucket. There was a lot of overlap there. And considering the amount of limited English learners that we have, there would overlap with them and free and reduced, but not necessarily. There's only a limited.
All in the center of the bin.
So I will give that to you. I have the counts, not the percentages. I can probably take some time to do that, but I wanted you to have at least the counts so you can see them. Okay. In terms of, and this did come up last year, in going back to that free and reduced one, there was some conversation about the unknowns, right? Like, who are the kids we don't know about who haven't completed applications? So I did want to have that available to you today, and I wanted you to know that of that 17 or 1,798 students, 1,346 students were what we call direct certified, meaning they qualified immediately based on SNAP benefits. Okay. We also had 452 additional students that qualified for free or reduced lunch based on the applications they turned in. Okay. So with that said, so that's actually, that was out of 900 students, 452 qualified.
For free and reduced.
For free and reduced, that did not automatically qualify through SNAP. Okay. As of October 1, we had 1,560 students that were what we call default, meaning they have to pay because nothing was submitted. What's important to note, that accounts for, that's 41% of our students that are unaccounted for currently. With that said, our food program, I have to give a shout out to Ernie and Justine, who has taken on this role this year. They've done a phenomenal job. It's not for lack of effort that we have 41% unaccounted for. They've really done a phenomenal job of targeted messaging to families, specifically even military families, as they're dealing with this crisis and furlough and all of that, trying to get them the benefits for free and reduced lunch. So really working with them. They've sent out at least 8 communications and outreach to families, targeted them directly, and there was a significant increase in the number that were completed over last year. So last year they had 17.5% of the applications completed. This year they had 23.6% increased. So that increased to that. So it's working. The messaging it's working. We're climbing.
And we shared it with Miranda too to get it out, and the captain, so that they could get and the master chief, so they could get that information out to
They've
the
had communications with Miranda, with the captain. Yes, they're working hard to get those applications in. They really are. So.
Sean has a question.
Is that collected in the students, the aid information survey, the financial aid information survey? I'm a parent. I used to get a ton of texts about that too. My wife and I sat down and filled that out. Does that give you the information needed, or is that through enrollment where you gather the information?
No, this is separate. So you need to fill out, in order to qualify, you have to fill out the free and reduced lunch application.
Okay.
It's a separate application.
And I don't know if you've heard me say this, Sean, but SNAP benefits aren't normally given to military because they have TRICARE and they don't get Husky insurance, so they're kind of left out of that, which is really a shame. So that the only way they could do to receive the free and reduced lunch is filling out that form, and we really, especially now with the shutdown, we've really encouraged that.
And it's not overly involved. It's not super cumbersome to fill it out. I think, and it's confidential, so there's very limited eyes that look at it. I think that's important for the public to know and our families to know that it's very limited. There are very few eyes that actually set themselves on these applications. It's, even up here, it's very well guarded, the information. So if there's anyone who is hesitating about that, that should be a week that they don't have to worry about, to be honest. We just want to make sure we're getting our kids fed.
Yes, very important.
Okay, in terms of our special ed population, our enrollment by school again, not really any big difference from last year. Our percentages are more or less the same. There may have been a slight increase or decrease by maybe 1%. I think 2 is the highest percent increase. Same thing with our limited English proficiency. Mystic River still continues to be one of the highest school with students learning English. But those numbers have been pretty consistent over time in between years. Looking at our free and reduced again, you can see that those numbers are a little bit higher. The largest increase this year from this time last year was at Thames River. There was a 13% increase over last year for students that qualified that were eligible for free and reduced lunch.
If I might, just one quick question relates to all these tables on 10 and 11. These percentages, I presume, are percentages with respect to the population in that school.
Yes.
That's the only thing that would make sense. I just wanted to double check that. Thank you.
Yes. And our military population, again, you know that just given the attendance zones of Charles Barnum, working with the military housing, it makes sense that that area has historically been higher military population. Thames River not far behind, and that has remained pretty consistent as well. Military-wise, only Thames River had a decrease of 3%. Everyone else had an increase of about 1%. And then that's how we're going to use over time, just to kind of wrap our heads around, where we stand as a district. And again, this is according to applications that are filled out, as well as those that are automatically qualifying through SNAP. And so we have increased from last year our number of families in need. And we're working hard to continue to get those applications in, and we will continue to do that.
Any questions?
I'll just say thank you for all you guys are doing collecting this data. It's very important for transparency and reporting. So thank you. Well done.
Mike?
Thanks, and thanks for the presentation. So, just going back to one of the earlier slides, our district total from last year to this year is down, I think it's by 178 students.
What page are you on, Mike?
I think it was at page 4, or 5.
Okay.
I think it's 151.
So, that minus 178 there, the district total. I'm using that one because that's what's on the state site too, the ed site. And I look back at your presentation last year, which was also very helpful. And last year, it was down by 90 students. So we're down 90 students from 2023-24, and now we're down another 178. So I'm concerned this might be the population trend, long anticipated, that we're starting to see now. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Now, we were talking about that a little bit today, that it may be worthwhile potentially working with the town to see what studies are available. We're asking ourselves the same question, but at this time, no, I don't necessarily have any real insight as to why it continues to decrease.
All I know is that the homeschooling is definitely an increase. We've seen 50 students from last year to this year, asked to homeschool, and then the 27 out of district, we were doing a really good job bringing kids back from out of district, but now I think there's even more choice out there, the continuum at Learn, so we saw the other 27, so that really is, I'm just curious about what we don't know, right, Mike? I know what we do know, and that helps to understand it a little better, but I just don't know what we don't know. And maybe that's with Miranda. I've asked her to check with the military just to see if we're seeing fewer military moves here.
Thank you for that. And also I want to say that having the intra-district magnets really does help rebalance schools, whether we get increases from year to year or decreases sometimes too. So that's a really good asset that our school system has for many reasons, and this is one of them.
Thank you, I agree with you.
Any other questions?
I just want to say thank you. I appreciate the efforts.
Did you want to see the Venn diagram?
Sure.
Yeah.
Now that Dean did ask the question, I didn't want to throw it at you though, because it must have been a,
I used to like Venn diagrams.
What do you like now, Dean, for next year?
yeah, she takes note, so
I
next year's
do.
will be even better.
I take it very seriously. I can just pull it up now.
Just in time.
All right. Is it coming up?
Yes.
Oh,
There it is. Oh, it's small.
Can you make it big?
Let me see. Hold on.
I love a good Venn diagram.
There you go.
All right. So what you have, is everyone familiar with the Venn diagram? So the interlocked circle,
What they have in common.
what they have in common, where the outsides in red are the specifics to that particular subgroup.
So up at top, it says free and reduced lunch, and then special ed on the left.
And so you can see the 463 students that are both receiving free and reduced lunch and have an IEP. That would be this number here. Here's our 30 that are in all three of those buckets. Our English learners, 115, are also qualify for free and reduced lunch. And then our students who are English learners and special education students, 41. So
Wait.
it's
Sorry.
not going to add up because you're looking at different buckets, so don't try to combine.
I was just going to double check to see how many
Don't add 'em
learners
up.
we have. Fine.
It won't work for this.
Unless you have something else, Dean.
Yeah. That
Oh,
you
I
can
got
add
lots
for
of
next
things,
year.
but-
We might have to show up next year's meeting to enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Put me not in mind of Valentine Ale. I think that was their logo.
Can we take a brief recess?
Yeah,
No.
okay.
We've only
We'll take
started.
a brief recess for 5 minutes. Okay. Can I have a motion to transfer under new business, item number 1, right after Rita, right under reports and information for staff and the director of finance? Well, soon to be officially, hopefully, terminating the director of finance. Do I have a motion to do that? So, okay.
Sorry.
Second.
Second by Sean. Okay, motion, let me find a space to do this. Motion to new business, item 1, to the director of finance report. Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Okay. All right, Eva.
Okay, so the financials here, the only comments I have, as far as after we spoke about it at the finance committee meeting, are, the salaries are not encumbered in this report. This is as of September 30th. We're still working on all of the teacher salaries and admin salaries are encumbered, but not the hourly. We're working on a better process to get them encumbered. So
To be encumbered.
yes, I'm hoping by the end of October, but definitely beginning of November. E-finance is a little different than Munis, and we're wanting to make sure that they're accurate. They did it differently, last year, so I'm trying to put in a good process for that. If you have any questions,
And
a lot of it's not encumbered.
too about encumbering
Yeah.
even supplies and things that they think they're going to really need. So we're getting that information out too, to really tighten this thing up.
So is there anything we should be concerned about at this point?
No, we're going to talk about the transfers between functions, but, as far as it stands as of September 30th, I don't have any concerns until we get everything encumbered.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for transportation, say awaiting contracts, what does that mean?
So
What contracts are you waiting for?
that would be like special ed contracts or, but in September, we're still trying to figure out how many kids are on the special ed vans versus the regular ed, transportation. So we're still getting all of that encumbered, how many buses they need. And it does change throughout the year. But that's what I mean by contracts are not received yet, so that we can't encumber for the whole year.
So beyond STA?
Yes, beyond SEA. We're talking, all the others.
And we try to get the ones that are most cost efficient.
And I think we talked about the 500s during the finance and facilities. So yeah, transportation, like the homeless and the different types of transportation besides STA. Yeah. So the specialized, I would call it.
And the service, like the 400 for the service contracts, they would be like Sam's.
That's like rentals and yes, Sam's, all of Sam's stuff, and also the copier rentals and all of that. We're still trying to tie up all the encumbrances for that.
Any questions on any of these pages? Okay, AJ.
Yeah, I just have one on, it says on 634, gasoline for school buses. Well, one, I think that's school buses, because I don't know buses that burn gas. Maybe this is in contracts or how we're expected, but it says year to date that we've already spent the full budget, and then we have monies encumbered as well. But seeing that we're roughly a quarter through the school year, do we pay out for that fuel ahead of time?
So are you looking at 634?
634.
Yes, we are in a prepaid contract for some of the gas.
Where does that, do we fuel the bus? Or where's the fuel, where do the buses fuel anyway?
Is it at the town?
Sam, do you know that?
I see sometimes.
Do you know that?
They fuel at the garage,
At the
and
garage.
some of the buses have to go to a local station right across from Harwood or Lyman Gordon.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry. I'm speaking of hers.
But our trucks and buses don't use any of the town facilities. Like, we're not able to use the town.
Not STA, no.
Okay.
But we do need to make a transfer between, the facilities transfers have not been made in this report yet, and that's between functions, so you won't see that to be approved, because it's not outside of the functions. But we are overspent, if that's what you're asking, overspent. As far as we prepaid some of the fuel for the whole year. We were on a prepaid contract.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's just due to the cost of fuel, I take it?
But it is coming down, but it's prepaid.
That is, yeah, but I know they entered into a contract to prepay the fuel this year. So that's why it's expensed, and the only thing that's encumbered is...
Yeah, no, I saw that, like the
Sure.
oil was up as well. And that I knew we prepaid for fuel oil for the buildings, but for the buses, I didn't realize we prepaid.
So now that you mention it, what is the prohibition between, why is there no collaboration between the town and the school district on use of the fuel? Because I imagine the town gets a better purchase price for the fuel station up on the hill.
I'm not sure,
That all the
Sam,
other
do you
town-
know? I think it's STA doesn't use it because they have their own, and they employ and take care of their own buses, but I don't know beyond that.
And I don't think that the station up there could handle the buses up there with all the other, you got fire trucks, police cars, our vehicles, all the other departments in the town, but we started putting buses up there. I don't know if they could handle that. I don't think they probably.
Or even your trucks, right?
We do.
You do fuel up there?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So some school vehicles do and others don't.
What's that?
Some school district vehicles fuel up there and others don't. Your maintenance...
Our district vehicles do.
Yeah, district vehicles.
Yes.
Your trucks fuel up there.
Yes.
But nothing else does.
Well, the
Yeah, the
STA
school
is,
buses don't.
yeah.
The school buses don't.
The school buses do not.
Yeah, the school
That's correct.
buses do not.
How long is this contract? With SDA, where are we in now?
I think we have one more year.
Is it?
I think 1 or 2
This
more
year
years.
and
You got to look at it.
Yeah.
Okay. Something to think about.
What, that they should fuel up on town?
I like to see a cost-benefit analysis of, like, you know, what we would pay if we wanted to go in with the town up there.
Or
And
if
try
we
to-
could even do that. We
Yeah.
have to check with the town.
Yeah, well,
We
you know.
could ask them now, actually. I mean, be proactive for next year, so now and the SCA, even if they want to do that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would probably be a change in their contract.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'd have to wait until that time.
Okay.
These-
Yeah, so if,
It says healthcare, but it didn't come in, right?
Or an attachment.
No.
This
That's right.
attachment 3.
and the healthcare report, there was no updated from the MDA, MGA? MDG, sorry. Still getting used to the names. So as soon as there's an updated report, we'll send it to you. I have been asking monthly.
So now that we move new business item C1 up to this point in the agenda, is a discussion of possible action regarding FY26 budget transfers between functions in the amount of $11,817,247.48. Would somebody like to read, Jim, would you like to read that motion?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. You got it?
Yeah. I'd like to make the motion to approve the fiscal year 26 budget transfers between functions in the amount of $11,817,247 and 48 cents.
Do I have a second? Second. You did? Okay. All right, Rita, you want to explain everything to us?
So the biggest transfer, obviously, is the first transfer, and that is because the function was incorrect, according to the state of what I have to report to the state. Everything that starts with a 1,000 or 1 is for instruction, so I moved it to a 2399 because when I go to report to the state, I just pull the data. I don't want to have to change the function. So that was one of the major corrections we had to make, and it was just between moving it to the correct function. That's all that first transfer is doing, if that makes sense. Okay, because we did have a talk at the facilities meeting, finance and facilities, about functions and their accuracy for state reporting. The other ones, there was also 2 years ago, GASB, which is the Government Accounting Standard Board, tells us where we can code stuff, and they also want to code software to a certain line. So you're going to, over the year, see movements from supplies, regular supplies, and into software because they were coding it to general supplies. So that's the second one. The other ones are submitted by the departments, moving funds into the correct accounts that they want to spend it on. So if you have any questions, I think...
So the 1101 you're talking about? The function code on the first page?
Yeah, I was talking about like the 612. The account 612 is software. So see how it's saying software needed. It used to be that we bought a bunch of textbooks, but now a lot of things are online. So they're just not used to coding it to software instead of coding it to general supplies or other supply lines. But because of this accounting standard, we have to move it to the right account.
And that would be software. What does the 601, what does SUP stand for?
So this is reallocation of the supply reduction. So this is just reallocating to where the schools want to purchase it. There was I believe there was a cut in supplies lines in the last budget season for this budget. So when the principals received their budgets, they said, well, I kind of want it out of this supply account, so they're just moving it to the right supply account.
Appropriate for them.
And the functions are different, like math, English, wherever they feel they need the funds. So that's basically the big transfer on page 2. Same thing, reallocate the supply reduction. It's just reallocation of where the department heads want their money. When they did the budget reductions, they just, did it across the board in one account. But these are where the principals want it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, this is great, actually. Thank you for that. It's good to know where the impacts are actually hitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're tracking this so that when we go into the next budget season, we know where to budget it.
Yeah.
Or we know where, they're going to expense it. So there's a couple small ones, but other than that, that's what the majority of these are.
I had a question.
Jen, go ahead.
So read out the last 2 items on page 2. It looks like a majority is coming from elementary general classroom use, and it's going to operations and maintenance, pretty much a majority. What's driving that, the last two rows?
On page 2?
Yeah, 2 of 3, do you see it? Operations and maintenance liability insurance,
So the liability insurance came in much higher than what was budgeted. Half of that was for the cybersecurity insurance that we had to get.
Okay.
At least 40,000 of it was for cybersecurity, and the other amount was the reallocation of the liability by the schools from the town. I guess every year it's going up a percentage amount, so we'll just have to be cognizant this budget season how much it's going to be raised as far as
They did give us
allocation.
the uptick, but I don't know if they gave us this particular
Yeah.
one, because we
Yeah.
did get some others that we
Right.
knew were
Right.
going into the budget season. We need to know that prior to putting the budget together.
And I had a meeting last week with the liability insurance, I forgot his name, but he's the agent. I had a meeting with him when he brought the policies over, and I said, we need to, meet and be aware this coming year, because I don't want the budget to be that much off for next year.
Yeah.
But like I said, half of it is the cyber security insurance.
Okay.
That was an extra insurance.
So what are we giving up then in that 117?
That was put aside for the bid list, and we're going to talk about that throughout the year, because we actually ordered some supplies in last May and June.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Use it or lose it?
yeah, right. So we'll talk about whether that needs to be replenished.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. I was a little distracted.
But
What
the-
was that? Use it or lose it?
Well, that was like May and June, they were, getting supplies to, for this year.
So they were buying supplies at the end
Of last year.
of last year so that the supplies would be available when the school started.
Oh, okay.
So, and then that would be the same thing here, because
There's a
then
bid
now,
list that they go.
There's a bid list, and we'll talk about that when it gets closer
when it
to.
gets
Right.
closer.
So that makes sense to me. I just like the phrase use it or lose it stuck in my head, because
yes,
we
yes,
did
I would.
we pushed to get the non-lapsing fund just so we could avoid that mentality. But I understand like preemptive buying for the coming school year,
Right.
so that things are ready to go on day one. That makes sense. But the pressure of like use it or lose it.
Right.
and
Yeah.
should be
Yeah,
gone.
So that's not going to happen this year.
That was just Jen.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a bid process that usually typically happens at that time, so we
Got it.
get things in
Yeah.
for the start of school.
Any other questions?
Any other question?
But you'll see these periodically when they cross functions, and it will be addition. I'm not sure if you want, once you vote for this, if you want me to add them when they come up, or just do separate votes. Like next month, if I have ones that cross functions, I've always added them, so you have a grand total. But I can
Is there a
do
way
whatever.
to add them and then somehow
Yeah,
tell
like
us?
these will be shaded that you already
So we will
approved.
ignore them.
So, yeah.
that's
But you
good.
keep a running list.
But I keep a running.
And then we
Okay.
can see when we go into budget season
Right.
Yeah.
what it all adds up to.
Right.
Good. I like
Okay.
that.
I think she was asking us, so Susan.
Oh, I know.
not so much you.
I know, well, I like it because I've got to put a budget together.
Well, yeah, maybe I don't know if color coding would work.
But typically, I shade the ones that are approved.
That haven't improved.
Yeah.
Maybe also an extra column could be added to where it's like date approved,
Yeah.
so that if they have as they happen at different meetings.
Because this one is dated, like the total
Right.
on the bottom is
Yeah.
dated for this date.
Right. So maybe the next version of this document would have one extra column that has a date for all these ones that we passed.
Yeah, I could try to fit it there.
Yeah, maybe we'll get a little space here.
Yeah, I'll move that over. Yeah, I could add a date, approved.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Mike?
Yes, thank you. I understand, thank you for explaining the reasons for the function transfer, and I think it's important to realign things. I was just wondering, following along online, is the only document we're referring to the finance report, or is there another one that itemizes, what makes up this 11 million in transfers, this function, this function, this function of that? It seems like a missing ingredient, that I'm wondering if I'm missing or everyone doesn't have that.
Do you have the budget transfers document, Mike?
We do.
Where was it in the agenda? I don't see it.
I'm not sure if he has the packet, because this
It's
wasn't
under,
embedded.
it's under new business.
I don't know if he has his.
Oh, I know it's under new business.
I don't see the attachment
document.
link.
Maybe she didn't have the attachment ready?
It wasn't attached,
Yeah.
it was just given.
Yeah, what's in the packet?
Well,
It was in the packet.
Did you get your whole packet of hard copy, Mike?
No.
I did not.
Oh.
Oh, that's why.
Online.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
like-
It's the last one.
Yeah, it's in the packet.
But there's nothing online linked
Right.
to the online agenda.
There's
So
no,
I am missing a
Yeah,
document.
no hot link.
Yes, you are.
There's no link to it.
yeah, it's here in your packet.
Well,
So I do think that's really important to get in the, modify the agenda if you can, but put it in the minutes for sure, for real.
Yeah, we'll definitely put it in the minutes.
And I'm very supportive of this. I'm just going to abstain because I didn't see that. That's the only reason I'll abstain.
okay. Do you want them, Mike, to drop your packet off at your house so you always have it?
No, I really think it's important to have all the information ahead of the meeting online in the form that the public will look at too. So usually I come in and get it, but
Okay.
or I usually be in person, but it really it's important to have it online. I don't happen to, because I didn't get the hard copy, but that's why I'll abstain.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor of approving the FY26 budget transfers between functions in the amount of $11,817,247.48, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? And Mike is abstaining, right, Mike?
Correct, abstain.
Thank you, Rita.
Thank you, Rita.
Thank you.
All right, Sam, you're on.
Your turn.
Your turn, Sam.
Good evening. So I have three things to report. Of course, the first thing was the Food Service Director of the Year item is on my list, but I did want to thank Lauren, too, for mentioning, for giving props to Ernie and Justine for the extra work that they're doing to get that information out to our community. It's really important to get as many people get those forms out to as many people that need it as possible, and they've really been doing a super job with that. Secondly, this past Sunday, we had some former mentors of the robotics program come down to Pleasant Valley to pick up personal items that they had, which were separated out from our robotics equipment and supplies. And so we wanted them to come while the team wasn't there. So they came down Sunday, and at last count, it looked like everything was picked up. I'll double check that tomorrow morning to be sure that there's nothing left behind. The other thing is that we're still awaiting the answer from the mover regarding moving of the heavy equipment, although robotics themselves have been moving some stuff in. It's probably half of that garage is filled, well, maybe a third of that garage is filled up with stuff already that will have to be dispersed and set up somewhere along the way. And we will be assisting them, meaning our department will be assisting them with moving the rest of the smaller items here over the course of the next few days.
Sam, have you investigated to see if there's any other company that can do the moving? I mean, we don't want to put all our eggs in that guy's basket and he's...
Well, there were two companies, and the other company has not responded to any of my calls over there. I can try and call them again, but at least, the company that we're dealing with right now, Collins Jewell, did come down, look at it, and they've moved other items for us. They've helped us install the big water heaters at the high school, for instance, which weigh about a ton, and they got to go way down in the well. So they're quite capable. Lauren, my secretary, called the other day, and then when we met with last week, when we met with the group that's meeting on the machine shop that's going to go in the garage, one of the EB, Will from Electric Boat, they do a lot of work for, this company does a lot of work for Electric Boat too, so Will texted them today, and he's waiting for an answer as well. So I'll wait and see how they respond to him first, and then we'll move forward based on that answer that we get from them. Hopefully we'll have that tomorrow morning.
Because it is a date that the town said that we have to be at it at building.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to make that date.
November 2nd.
So the date's coming up.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to make it or not, but we're certainly going to try.
Well, have you talked to John about there's a possibility we may not be out of that building?
I talked to John last week. Yes, I had some other issues that I had to resolve with John. I spoke to somebody else about staying at Pleasant Valley for a little while, so I spoke to John about that, and I did let him know that part of the reason is because I'm having so much difficulty getting this resolved. So, again, we're working on it on a daily basis, but I haven't got a confirmed date yet, so I'll continue working on that.
We might even have to go out of state,
I was going to say
Sam,
that.
if it's not, and maybe EB can give us another name if this one doesn't come to fruition. We've been waiting a long time.
Well, we're going to call the other company back. Again, I called them 3 or 4 times now and haven't got a call back. So I'll continue to do that as well.
We did have put the electricity in, though, right? They needed that to go in before. Has that been completed? Because they needed
No,
that
we're working on it.
before the big equipment comes in?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, do you have a date where, okay, I don't hear from this company by October 30th, I'm moving on?
I think we have to find out who else there is even before, in case we
Well,
need
there's,
I have to look at the equipment. If they can't move it, I have to look at it again and see whether there's any way that we can move some of that ourselves. So,
but it's tons, like 2 tons.
I know how much. I know how much it weighs. That might be the next solution. I don't know, but I'll continue to make phone calls. But when you're working with outside contractors and it's a very busy season for them, we're at their mercy to a certain degree.
So I'm struggling to adequately express my frustration at the situation. We started discussing this back in June, and that was already 2 years too late, in my opinion. And I remember in one of those meetings, I made the suggestion of reaching out early to start talking to the movers, and try to get the conversation going early. And I don't feel like that happened in a timely manner. We just had a long-time parent supporter of the robotics here commenting on the citizens' petitions, and 5 weeks behind schedule already. We had a mid-October as like an acceptable compromise, already diminishing the capability to operate, this robotics team deserves better. It's a highly accomplished team. They function at a high level, and they will not. They're already suffering. They will probably have a very difficult season this year on account of this. So we're diminishing our programming by not attending to this in a timely fashion, and so. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Like, I feel like the administration has failed on this issue, and we need to make every effort. And if that means we cast a wider net. I don't think we have to move faster on this issue.
Are there any companies in? Go ahead, Ian.
I'm just yes, let's go out of state. Why wait for another phone call or another another week? We have to go broader, and the specifications on this equipment, we're looking like 2 tons. Is that the upper end? Is that the largest?
Yeah, not quite, but it's 1 ton or 2 tons doesn't make much difference. It's heavy.
So the heaviest stuff would be just under 2 tons, and I don't know. I mean, there's got to be other companies in the New England area that do this sort of thing, and we have to reach out. And we have to do it quickly. We owe it to this team.
Do you see a downfall, Sam, about going out of state to get a company? Are you hesitant about doing that?
No, I can cast a wider net, I suppose. I can start looking to see if there's anybody else that's available to do it.
Okay.
I mean, EB, we can call Willie to see if he has anybody else he might recommend.
Yeah, they might.
I was hopeful that he would be able, because this is one of their main clients.
Right.
Supplies. So.
All right, well, cast a wider net. And
Well, I'm going to start by talking to Willie tomorrow from EB. That's where I'll start.
all right. And hopefully we can get an update in Friday's board notes about what's going on.
Happy to do that.
Thank you. Anything else for us,
No,
Sam?
that would be it.
That would be it. Okay. All right, thank you, Sam. The next is committee reports. And
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
I did have one other item,
Go ahead.
if I might. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I see B now that I should have had my glasses on tonight. I also wanted to report that the state, as you know, the state has required that we do HVAC testing every few years in all of our schools, and we're allowed to do 20% per year, so that after 5 years, you roll it over and you start back with the first schools that you did, first 20%. So we're in the second year of that. Last year, we did do Catherine Kolnaski in Northeast Academy and got that report. We have advertised presently for the Fitch High School and Charles Barnum HVAC assessments. The bids are due on October 31st, and we would hope that we would be able to complete the testing over the holiday break. So I'll keep you informed as we move along with that project. That would be it.
Okay, thank you, Sam. All right, next is policy. You haven't met this month, have you?
No, there's no meeting in October. We're looking to set up the agenda for the November meeting, and so I've gotten notes from tonight and from curriculum, and I got an email from Ms. Kreider as well, so that in the next coming week we'll get that constructed and issued.
Curriculum, agent?
All right, yeah, we had 2 meetings in October. The October 6th meeting, we discussed music and movies, a new course, and the committee approved it, but after further discussion with the administration, I think we're not going to move forward with that class right now. I think there were some modifications that they were talking about making. And the other class discussed was IB, personal and professional skills. And I'm just going to add a little bit of a clarification to that. I originally thought that the board had to vote on sending that in this meeting tonight, and it turns out that we had to do it in COW policy. So it didn't come up tonight, as I stated in that meeting, but it was because of my misunderstanding of the policies that I should have known. So that's already been approved by the board in the COW last week. The second meeting we had, October 22nd, we reviewed graduation requirements. We had some great discussion on why reducing the current policy of 27 credits down to 25 would be a good idea for the district. And ultimately, it's policy 6146. The committee unanimously, I don't know if we voted, but it was unanimous that we felt that the credit requirement should be reduced. So we make that referral to policy. And hopefully we'll be talking about that in a board meeting soon with the full board. And that was it for curriculum.
Right. Thank you. Finance and facilities.
Sure. So we met on October 7th. We had a lengthy meeting, not as lengthy as these, of course. A lot of the meeting we spent talking about where we are with robotics. I don't need to go over that. Our director of finance took us through a review of the 400 section of the 25 budget. She also reviewed with us the state function guidelines. We're trying to conform the reporting to us with what the state requires as a format. Discussed also what we voted on tonight, the budget transfers between functions. We were also provided with a expenditure report, and then with director of facilities, we reviewed the use rate schedule. There was a modification to what we'd seen before. I don't know when that's coming up for a vote. It's not on for tonight, but in any event, that's the executive summary.
Thank you, Dean. The Ad Hoc Procedure Committee, Dean?
Yeah, we met, I don't remember the exact date, but we did meet in late September, and we had a great conversation with the finance director, and we relayed a lot of the concerns and interests that were collected amongst the board as far as like ways to enhance the budget presentation book, and the finance director was receptive, and we found a lot of common ground as far as common interests and things that we thought would be useful to add and enhance. So I look forward to the budget process this year. And if Jen, do you want to add anything?
No, agreed. Good summary.
Okay.
Yeah, Rita's doing a good job.
All right.
So, Ian, did your committee complete their work?
Yeah, I feel like we're good at this point. We can just dissolve until needed in the future. If hopefully not.
We'll be busy with the actual budget coming here forward.
Completed for now. How's that?
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't know what other is, but AG, SA, GEA, B, and Board of Ed Liaison, we met on October 21st, and we discussed the cell phone policy, and they said the cell phone policy is going well at the high school. The middle school has no changes. The policy is still working great at the middle school. And the high school, the only concern was the consequences need to continue. So say you have a consequence and you do it again, you have to continue on with the consequences. You can't say, oh, I gave you that before, so, forget it.
It gets steeper.
Yeah, it's steeper. So that's good news, that the cell phone policy is going well. And they said the high school starting the policy in the beginning of the year was easier than starting it in the middle of the year. And they actually said in Florida, they've seen an increase in achievement and a decrease in and an increase in discipline since the implementation of their cell phone policy down in Florida. So that was different. And then they talked about Go Guardian. I mean, this is something for Clint, though, Go Guardian, because teachers who have individualized computer stations cannot have Go Guardian. Have you talked to Clint about that? Yeah, that's a Clint issue. We also talked about community engagement, and they had some ideas about community engagement, talk about technology, talk about no devices in kindergarten, and maybe if we do community engagement, do it in specific areas. Don't try to do it like in high school and get the whole district to come. Maybe you might want to do it in the city and then in the center of Groton and in this area, and we might do better with that. They also talked about how presenters are treated by Board of Ed members. They're not happy with how Board of Ed members treat presenters when they come to the Board of Ed meetings. And they think if we keep treating them the way we are treating them, that they will not, the teachers will not want to come to the board meetings to do any presenting. I mean, you can jump in, Andrea, you were there, and so was Adrian. I mean, jump in anytime if you have anything to add to what I'm talking about. But that was a big, long discussion, how the Board of Ed members are treating the presenters when they come to the board meetings. They were not happy with that. Anyway, that's all I'll say for that. We talked about the data dashboard. They want to know, they want to know about, okay, we want this data dashboard. Are you going to use it to weaponize schools? Do you want to compare one school to another school? They're definitely against that. If you're going to use it in a fair way, that's okay, but they were very concerned of how the board wants to use the data dashboard. And they're trying not to look at only test scores, but they're looking at the whole child. You could jump in at any time. Okay. And they did suggest, and I thought this was a good idea, that the board takes a third grade CBAC test.
SBAC. Yeah.
SBAC?
Yeah.
SBAC, yeah. So maybe that's more, and then we'll have a different view of the testing if the board actually takes the test. So maybe one day for a COW meeting we can do that.
On a computer.
On a computer, that's
We
it.
do it while Dean's still here? Are we going to share our scores?
And they said the teachers do not feel like they are trusted and respected. Yep. What else did they talk? Coaching policies, and Susan's looking into this, into the coaching policies. They have concerns about coaching policies. I don't know. You want to talk about that, Susan?
Well, we've done some work on the coaching policies. I think it's the consistency of the evaluation process, so I need to talk to Mark Romano about that.
Okay. And we talked about district-wide tech issues, the software. Teachers can't teach when their laptops don't work. They talked about the Promethean boards. They don't always work. Computers are old. So, when your computer's old, the software doesn't update, and that's a problem for them. And they talked about you need a balance between using technology all the time and really the teacher teaching. So, and that was that meeting. Do you want to add anything, Adrian or Dr. A or Susan?
Yeah, I'll speak to, I think it was universal. I was a little bit surprised that they do feel that the board doesn't treat the teachers well enough when they come to present. So that is something that I took away from that. I think kind of with some of the comments, I think we just need to be careful to, stay positive. I mean, we're going to have questions, and sometimes we may have frustrations that aren't necessarily with the teachers, but are with something surrounding it. We just need to be careful of how we, how we interact with the staff, keeping in mind that they are the professionals. So that was my big takeaway.
It was surprising to me because I think there was only one meeting where they truly, and I agree with them, had issues with how they were treated. It was surprising to me, though, how universally the teachers thought that they were diminished as a professional group. And that's something that we all have to work on. I don't know why. I wish I could really articulate how they felt, but putting it into words and watching the feeling.
I have a couple questions about that. As far as, like, I guess, I mean, I'd like to know more detail as far as, like, when the meetings occurred, like, what was the off-putting comments, so I could better understand the context of the feedback. And for one, I can understand I've often asked, about standardized testing, and I feel like I've expressed my frustration with the testing filters, like how you test for how you use a standardized test for differentiated education has been a question that I've never gotten a satisfactory answer for. And, so I can definitely feel the frustration. And in my own profession, I'm often asked to test. I feel like I get asked to test my students more frequently than I'm allowed to educate them. But I guess another question I want to ask the teachers is that, do they feel like they have the flexibility to differentiate broadly enough? Or are they being handed packages of curriculum that they have to follow strictly?
They didn't talk
Packages
about
of,
that.
well, I'm asking.
Oh, well, that's something, at our next meeting, send that to me.
Sure.
And when we talk to them, I'll ask them that question.
Because, I mean,
that wasn't part of the agenda.
Right, I just wanted to kind of put it in there for the liaisons to, bring on back to them and have
Send it
that
to me,
conversation.
And then I'll ask them.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, anything else on that? Athletic fields. Ian, you want to pump us up about voting on?
Well, we cannot. We've been advised by our attorneys not to advocate. Right, I saw those emails, so I mean, I have my own feelings about the matter. But long story short, the athletic fields, they collected an information sheet, and the information sheet has been posted on the town website. And I wanted to ask, I never saw the follow-up email. Do we post that to the board website as well, the district website, the information sheet that explains the referendum that's coming up on November 4th?
Yeah, we can't send the information out on Parent Square, but
I saw that.
Maybe we could put it on the website. That was Mike's suggestion.
Which I did send an email in support of that suggestion, saying that, if that was a thing we could just proceed with.
Who has the information sheet?
It's on the town website.
Okay.
Also, it was attached to one of the athletic fields emails, so I can send that back around here in a few minutes. But long story short, there's a referendum coming up on November 4th. The athletic fields task force has worked hard to put together the information and has worked with the town to get the information out there within the legal limitations of not advocating one way or the other. But for anyone that has visited the athletic fields in town, I would hope that, logic rules the day. So, they had a meeting there with basically just talking about how to get the word out and encouraging people to spread the word and advocate as individuals, but not representing any particular body or board.
Mike, you have a question or a comment?
Oh, yeah, just a quick one. The information for the athletics fields is on news items on the town website, and the email I sent maybe last week has that link there too.
And so if it's on the town's website, we could probably put them on the school website.
That sounds like it.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, and the election is 1 week away. That's Election Day, next Tuesday. Early voting started October 20th, so we've already missed some opportunity there. But hopefully people are finding their information and making a good choice.
Thank you, Ian. Next is Learn. Learn met on October 9th, 2025, and we heard from Brian J. White. He's the superintendent of Regional School District Number 4. He gave an overview of the district structure, enrollment trends, and strategic priorities. Region 4's governance model includes 5 boards. Can you imagine that? And serving approximately 1,300 students pre-K through 12 across 3 towns. So he has his hands full. Like us, enrollment is decreasing, and they're thinking about moving 6th grade to middle school, and they are making progress in instructional areas. They have IB, they have AP, and early college experience programs. Learn continues to face challenges in recruiting and retaining staff, especially in the specialized special education roles. It's a very demanding job. Staffing shortages are constraint. I don't know. Staffing shortages are the primary constraint in program expansion. They like to do some expansion, but if you can't get the staff, you can't expand the programs. Leadership development for administrators is a priority with research-based professional development programs, enhancing their capacity to lead systematic improvements, efforts to continue to build programs that better meet the needs of emotionally disturbed students, though current staffing limits this capability. We received documents to support ongoing legislative and advocacy efforts such as CABE 2025 law summaries. Did we get that? Did you get that? The CABE 2025 law summaries?
Yeah,
Was it like
okay.
hard copy, right?
Learn Leadership attended a federal advocacy session in Washington, D.C. A valuable insight share was approximately 20 constituent calls to a congressional office raises awareness. 50 calls typically prompts action, emphasizing the importance of community engagement. Learn continues to partner with the Office of Early Childhood to manage the Tri-Share Children program financially. The initiative aims to share children costs among state, industry, and families. EB is supporting this program in our area. That means EB will help pay for child care, 1/3 of the child care. The state will pay for the other third, and the family will pay for the other third. So 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. They're still waiting to close on the Daniel Avenue's property. Legislators have been visiting Learn sites to observe firsthand the complexity of student needs, staffing ratios, and program models. Deeper legislative understanding of Learn and magnet schools are needed. Learn is hosting 2 cohorts of balanced leadership training for administrators, a 4-day series delivered over time, provided by McCrell and National Educational Research Group. And the infant toddler program is up and running. And that's it for Learn. And next is Town, City, Board of Ed.
Mm-hmm. So we met on October 16th here in central office. We have representatives from Town Council, RTM, and Board of Ed. City Council did not participate. Hoping next time around they'll come. Our next meeting will be in January of 2026. Basically, it was just information sharing, and from the Board of Ed, Town Council, and to a small effect, RTM. So it was good. Yeah, basically like prepping them, for the budget and, sharing that and sharing all of the other advances that have been taking place in the school district. So.
Well, thank you, Jen. All right, next action is the consent calendar. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions about it? No? Okay, all those in favor of approving the consent calendar, that's the regular meeting minutes of September 22nd, 2025, September 23rd, 2025, and October 1st, 2025. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Approved. Okay, next on the agenda is discussion and possible action regarding requesting a limited demographic study from the town with the intent/focus on understanding future student enrollment changes. Do I have a motion so we can discuss this?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Second, Thomas.
Okay, Adrian, I'm going to let you take the lead on this.
All right, we can be really quick on this. So this began with the request, or at least it began in my mind as when we had the request for the park at Mary Morrison for that space in the field to be a park. But going from that, I had personally started thinking about the other schools, where we would put a school if we were to need one. And when we started diving into that a little bit more, we were talking about the planned increase in housing in Groton. And I know the town is doing other studies, at least I've read about it in the paper, different types of studies with the plan of new housing. I believe there's something like 1,600 or 1,800 units in progress in some form or another of planning or construction right now and just finishing. So my thought would be to ask the town for this study so that we can plan for the long-term future of the district. So we know our schools, although our enrollment did go down a little bit, I think it's probably, it probably gives us a little bit of breathing room compared to where we were last year and the year before. Because the schools are full. So maybe this study would show us that we're going to have a decrease in students and we don't need to do something, but maybe a study like this would say that we're going to have an increase. And just so we can plan as a town on the future with the best information that we can have. Let me see if I can even read my own notes if there's anything else. Basically just for future enrollment and, for facilities and students, so for staffing and students.
Any comments, Ian?
I'll just say that we spoke about this back when we were talking about the park stuff, and I'm in support of it. I was in support of it then. I'm in support of it now. I think it's good information to have.
Thank you. Dean?
There is a principle in court procedure where it's possible at two levels for a jury verdict to be, shall we say, overturned. One is that the judge is asked, if a jury comes back with a verdict, the judge is asked by the losing side to overturn the verdict. The other one is where the court simply directs the verdict before the jury even comes back. In both cases, in general terms, the basis for this is that even though information has been presented to the jury through testimony, documents, etc., nevertheless, there's insufficient information in the judge's mind for the jury to come back with a decision. Or if they have come back with a decision, it's because they did the best they could with the little information that they got. But in the judge's mind, it simply wasn't just it wasn't a just basis for a verdict, and wouldn't be a just basis for a verdict. And that's my one little note of caution when we go and we get data, demographic data, and we use that information, and we say, well, we got information, and isn't information good? Let's plan on the basis of this information. Always remember that not just in court, but anywhere else in life, information isn't in and of itself valuable. You have to have enough information. It's got to be quality and some quantity as well. So when we get demographic information, keep that in mind, that it may or may not be sufficient for the purposes of school planning.
Dean, what are we going to do without you, Dean?
Oh, you'll do just fine.
Who's going to be the voice of reason?
Debbie Downer? Yeah.
Mike?
Yeah, do we have a sense, I guess at this point, it's just initiating the process and then we come back with some kind of memorandum of understanding or agreement? Or we just asking the town to do it and come back to us with whatever they have? Yeah, I'm wondering if we should think about the details now or just wait till later, like what time frame, things like that.
Adrian?
I would say that this is my intent with this was to see if the board has interest, and I would say that this would be the start of a discussion, maybe with the chair and myself, talking with John Burt, or the superintendent, I should include on that, talking with John Burt about different ways that this could work. Because I personally am not familiar with a demographic study. And I also wanted to point out that I should have brought the meeting date when this was discussed, but it was in mid-August.
Okay, that's all right.
So.
Any other? Go ahead, Mike.
Just one thing to add. So I did read that article on the population study done for the town. I think it's by Ken Moyne Associates, and that's where they said since 2010, Groton's population has decreased by 5.7%, but the households grew by 4.1%. So less people overall, more households that are smaller. When they talked about the job increase, which is quite a bit as well, 4.6% over that same time period. Just wondering if we be just wanting sort of a reanalysis of that sort of data or something different.
I didn't see that population study. Was that online?
Where I read it was in the day. It was like hydraulic, October 10th, 2025, and the title was Consultants, Groton Facing Big Demand for Future Housing. And they were quoting a presentation from Tom Dworetsky, Director of Research and Consultant Ken Moyne Associates, a data analysis analytics firm focusing on economic development. So they may have some of the information we want, but of course we want to be focusing on school age, projected school age populations.
Well, did you have your hand up, Adrian?
No.
Okay. So what we could do is see how the board feels about this, and if the board, go ahead, Jen.
This was part of our board goals. So it should just be an automatic, let's support it. Right?
Yeah, I was just going to say that almost. And then if
Sorry.
the board approves it, then, which it's part of our goals, then we get down to more of the specifics of what we want to.
Yeah.
And you can lead the way. Okay?
Great.
All right. All right, any other comments, questions, anything? Ian? No? Okay. All those in favor of approving requesting a limited demographic study from the town with the intent focus on understanding future student enrollment changes, say aye.
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 Oppose, abstentions? Okay, that's approved. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that forward. All right. Next item is discussion of changing the title of business manager to director of finance. Can someone read the motion? Dean?
I move to approve changing the title of business manager to director of finance.
Second, Thomas.
Second, Ian? Okay. We already talked about this at committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion on it?
That makes perfect sense, and it lines up the titles all across the board.
Okay. All those in favor of approving or changing the title of business manager to director of finance, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, approved. Next is discussion and possible action regarding approval to move forward with the Green Bank RFP for potential solar panels at Fitch High School. Ian, can you read that motion for me? Do you mind?
Sure. Make a motion to approve moving forward with the Green Bank RFP for potential solar panels at Fitch High School.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Second, Jan? Okay. Discussion. Sam.
No, for the record, we did go over this a lot at
Yeah, we did
a
go
committee of the
over
whole
it.
meeting where we had Andre and some representatives of the Green Bank.
Right.
So it's been thoroughly discussed in committee, so
This is just to
we don't have to go
get the
into
RFP in motion.
deep dive.
Not
Right.
committing it to anything.
Right.
And then the solar panels won't go in the high school, it'll be like carports. So that's important. And they will install, maintain, and they'll be doing
We'll get
everything.
the savings.
And we'll get part of the savings.
Part of the savings.
Part of
Part of the
it.
savings.
And again, it bears repeating, as Ian said, that they, at the presentation, there were directed questions, questions directed to the issue of if we say yes at this meeting, are we committed to anything? You know, are we in for a penny, in for a pound? And this is nothing more than approving moving forward with the RFP. That's it. We could pull out at a later date if we have a change of heart on the thing once we wind up, because there were questions about some of the details. So,
Yeah, we can
In fact, they're supposed to-
award the RFP if we
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
They're supposed to come to the Finance Facilities Committee meeting on November 5th. They said they would come there and answer some questions.
Okay.
Okay?
So I was not impressed with that conversation in any way. I thought there were a lot of questions that remained unanswered. I'm glad that it's just approval and we could move out or pull out at any time. But I'm really hesitant to vote in favor of this because I just think that they didn't have any answers that we were, that satisfied me. And I think Mr. Whitelove had questions that were also unanswered.
Well, hopefully they'll have more answers when they come to finance. They know they're coming to Finance Facilities. They said they would come. on
I'll make
November
sure that
5th.
Joyce reminds.
Okay. And maybe it's better if they come. I don't know where they're from because the sound was kind of muffled. It was hard to hear what she was saying at times. So if she can,
See if she can come in person.
Yeah. Okay, all those in favor of approving, moving forward with Green Bank RFP for potential solar panels at Fitch High School, say aye.
Aye.
Mike, how you vote? Okay.
I gotta abstain.
You abstaining?
Yep.
No,
No? Okay, just let me write this down. Ian is a yes, Dean's a yes, Adrian's a yes, and Jen is a yes. And I'm a yes.
And Sean?
And Sean's a yes. Okay. Abstain is Mike. And no is Dr. A. Okay. All right, so that passes. Next is discussion and possible action regarding the ratification of the Groton Education Association contract for the period of September 1st, 2026 to August 30th, 2030. Jen, you want to read that?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to ratify the Groton Education Association contract for the period of September 1st, 2026 to August 30th, 2030.
Do you have a second?
Second.
15. Okay. And now we had a nun meeting, which we discussed this. I don't think you were there either.
I was there.
Oh, you were there? Okay. Oh, yeah, you were there. Okay. So, any questions or anything?
I don't have any questions. I just had some concerns with the overall process and outcome. I'm still not quite happy with, the health insurance side of the contract, but I realize that, it's a process. So we'll see,
Oh, because you want us to explore the state plan?
Oh, well, no, I mean, I just, whatever it is, like we end up with a high deductible plan, that's not great for teachers, that's not great for employees. It makes it very difficult to recruit and retain. And, we hear about teachers feeling, diminished and disrespected. Health care and health coverage and benefits is a large part of like how you make sure your employees feel well supported. I also had concerns with the negotiation process as far as like the representation. There were just some discussions early on in my term about trying to be more, have more representation of the board, a broader perspective in the room, negotiating, or having some system where we could have some input as a whole board earlier on in the process, as it was, only a small percentage of the board were actually involved in the active negotiations. So I had concerns about that as well.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what, on the teacher side of things, if they feel like they were, well represented on their end as well. Like, if we have concerns on our end, there might be some concerns on the other end too.
All right. Anything else? I'm not going to address that issue. I'll let that go. Go ahead, Adrian.
Yeah, I'm just going to state that, I also, I have some concerns with kind of the way it worked. There were some board members in that committee kind of making, negotiating for the whole board, but the whole board really wasn't involved. So I'll leave it at that with, I was one of the board members that wasn't involved, although we were kept abreast of what was going on, and I appreciate that. I just wanted to state that for the chair. The other thing is, this is more of a, I guess, a procedural thing, but it says we're voting to ratify a contract, but we don't have like a fixed document that we're voting on as part of this. Is that typical for this vote?
Mhm.
That we just vote on?
The changes of the contract. Most stuff in the contract will stay the same, so we're voting on the changes of the contract.
Yeah, but is that normally, those changes, are they normally made public right now when we're voting on it, or like as far as a document? I guess I'm just asking for maybe past practice or something. I mean, so right here, we're voting on changes, but we're not really discussing the changes.
Well, I could discuss the changes. You want me to? I mean, I could read them all.
It's been
Is that
ratified.
Is that public now?
It's been
I guess that's my
ratified by the
question. I don't know
teachers.
I don't know what's public
ratified
now
by
or
the
not.
teachers.
And to me, I felt that, if we're going to be voting on something, there should be a piece of paper behind it. But if you want to go over it, verbally, that would be sufficient for me.
Dina, is that legal to go over?
To review it?
Yeah.
I'm probably not the one to ask, to be honest with you.
I mean, you already know what the changes are.
I know what the changes are.
Okay.
And I support it. Just to say that right now.
Yeah, we're not-
I support the changes.
We're not voting on a secret contract, so yes, it's true, the teachers have the unions already ratified it. I don't think there's a problem with actually having the terms read out. I think what typically would fall under an executive session, for example, would be if you're in negotiations.
Right, we're not in.
Whether it's personnel, for privacy purposes, and also be just negotiation in general, and it also applies to if your school's looking to acquire real estate, for example, that doesnn't get public, and it doesn't become public until afterwards. I'd like to err on the side of caution, though, and not, but we did. I do have a question, which is this: I know there are complaints about the process. I point out two things. One, I don't know that the negotiations committee or the negotiations group is any more critical than, say, curriculum or policy. I'm not in curriculum, I'm not on policy, but I'm on the receiving end as being a member of the board as in the COW and as a board member. We understand, I thought, that it's usually a subset of the board that's on any one committee, except for the COW, of course. If we want to change practices and in the future have essentially a full board as a negotiating body, that's fine. The teachers certainly had plenty of bodies in their room, and they were ably represented by their council, and they put forward their demands, which, by the way, have never included, hey, let's go to the state plan. So one day, 1 year, maybe they want to do that. And then we can talk about it. Beyond...
You have the full board do policy, the full board do curriculum.
We could.
You could do that.
We could. That way we're all involved.
I want to be involved in everything.
For some reason, this is more sensitive, and I can't help but wonder: is there something that was the result of negotiations that irks someone? Is there a rock in your shoe substantively, other than just the process? You don't like the pay, you don't like the health thing, you don't like.
I said it.
I'm just wondering.
The high deductible plans. I'm not a fan.
But they.
And I don't know what we could do to do better, but I'd like to look at options and work with the union to see what they're, what they're looking at.
Didn't even come up in negotiations.
But it's not a unilateral imposition of conditions. They could have come in. The union could come in, and they did come in with demands. And we're like, oh my God, what are they asking for that for? It's the usual back and forth in a negotiation. They have never, in my experience since 2009, ever come in and said, we want the state plan. Think about the state plan. I'll leave it to them. Or maybe we'll propose it the next time if we think it's a wonderful idea. But right now, this is you're discussing a hypothetical. You believe that the state plan would be better. Well, we didn't propose it and they didn't propose it. There isn't a third party to this negotiation. So other than that, I'm just wondering if there's something that this board should be disappointed about.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that the meetings with the negotiation committee and the union, the conversations were robust. They were. We had so many different issues that we discussed together. That first of all, we discussed individually as union and as board. Then we would come together and we would have again a robust conversation. And when we were finished, everybody was satisfied. Every issue had been addressed. I don't want to say sufficiently. I would say fully to the nth degree. And when we came to the end of the agreement, the council had spoken together. They had represented each group, and when we came to the end of it, everybody was happy with what we resolved, including the union. Otherwise, we would not have agreed on it.
We'd be going to arbitration.
Right.
Yes, that's right.
And there's still a chance we might go to arbitration because the town council has to vote on this contract also.
That's true. As it was, we had a scheduled mediation date, but for the fact the mediator actually didn't show up, he was tied up someplace else, and we sort of mediated between ourselves and came to hammered out the last issues.
That's right.
But anyway.
And I have to say, I think the board's negotiation team, they were highly qualified individuals. And you have to trust the team, just like we trust the people that's on policy, and we trust the people on curriculum and facilities and finance. You have to trust the team. We have to learn to trust each other. If we don't learn to trust each other, then we're not going to move forward here. Adrian.
All right. I agree that we should trust each other. This vote, in my opinion, so when we vote on something as a curriculum committee, the committee will vote on it, and then it will come to the full board, and the full board will have a chance to discuss, a chance to modify, but with this vote, there's no modification possible. It's either a yes or no vote. So I think that this, and specifically, we see this with policy all the time. Policy will vote on something that they thought was a great policy, and it'll come to the board, and we'll modify it. It'll go back and it'll eventually work through.
Can I just jump in 1 second? I did send an email to all the board. I said, ask Joyce for the contract, look at the contract, and let me know if there's anything in the contract that you might want us to discuss. Like always, I don't hear from half the board members. So I did send that email. You had a chance to look at the contract and say, okay, Bev, I don't like section 2C, teaching an hour, teaching load. I think that class size in the contract should be lower. I didn't hear from anybody. So the negotiation team went on and we did our business.
But
you had a chance.
But what that leaves out is the discussion and the learning from other board members or the union or the teachers union on topics. So rather than just saying like, I'm concerned with, like step X makes this much money or something like that. I'm just using something specifically. It gets rid of it limits the interaction in the learning that can happen and the comfort with a vote. I mean, I understand how this generally worked. I appreciate the committee for all the work they did. I know it was a lot of work, and it was earlier in the day when it's really hard to get there for many board members. So I do appreciate what was done. I think that there's other ways to do it where that would involve the board a little bit more and group discussions by the board to make sure everyone was comfortable as the negotiations were going on. I mean, that's not the way it panned out. I understand the way things went, and like I said, I'm generally supportive of it, of the final contract or the final agreement.
Okay, any other discussion?
Just that the teachers were equally involved, and that they not accepted the contest, but enthusiastically accepted it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll stay on the topic of the contract and not the process, because I think we got off to the process, how the contract came about. That's a whole different discussion. So I'll take a vote. All those in favor of ratifying the GEA contract for the period of September 1st, 2026 to August 30th, 2030. Sean, are you in favor? Yes or no?
I'm in favor, yes.
Yes. Jen?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Adrian?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes, ma'am.
Ian?
I'll abstain.
I knew that. Mike?
Yes.
Okay. So it has passed. 7 yeses, 1 abstain. Ian's abstaining. Okay. The next item is discussion and possible action regarding the superintendent's contract. That's anticipated to go into executive session. I'm going to move that into the very last item on the agenda. So I'm going to skip over to letters and communications and comments by board members. Anything? Sean, do you have anything? No. Jen?
I get periodic updates from the robotics team. So they moved in maybe like 6 trailers, friends and family. And they're unpacking tonight, and they unpacked, I think, last weekend too.
Dr. A?
No, I just want to thank the board for coming to the Martin Luther King dinner and celebrating the scholars. It was a wonderful evening. Thank you for being here.
Adrian?
I don't have any. I've received some communications that I think everybody received, but I don't really have anything for tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Dean?
Yeah, first I want to apologize for not being here at last week's meeting, and I also missed the liaison meeting as well on Tuesday. It was a last-minute thing. My son had walked into the unknown, a music thing that was very serious, but it was people he didn't know in Brooklyn where he'd never been, and frankly, I hadn't been in that part of Brooklyn either, so I felt I should accompany him, and so that was an exception to my normal
Well, he was very satisfied, one, that he wasn't abducted when he walked in through the door. I think his older brother, thank you very much, his older brother put that fear into him. They never stopped scaring each other, I guess. But anyway, so that worked out very well. It was just exactly what he wanted, and I actually found my grandfather's grave while I was waiting for him to finish. 3, or 2, I don't remember where I was. Before I forget, I want to do this as sort of like maybe a last, my last meeting, but there'll be one more meeting when I'm here. This is an idea. I've talked to Matt about it before, and I may have raised it in a board meeting too. Maybe a crazy idea, and it may be done already, and there are logistics involved. We talk about kids who are going to college. We talk about kids who are not going to college, and what should the tracks be, and do we track kids, do we give them the options and career pathways, alternatives, and things like that. I'm sure there are children, hardly children, they're in their teens, who would be college bound, but doing what kids often do, and what adults often do, is they have self-checked out. It may be for financial reasons. They may think, I'd love to go to college, but never going to be able to afford it, so I got to think of something else. That's not an irrational decision, frankly, given the cost of college. But there may be kids who think for other reasons that they are not cut out, that they don't know what college is, perhaps no one in their family has gone, they have no exposure to it, and if they could go to a campus and see that they really have no reason to be intimidated, that if they look around, they'll see people that look like about their age. And this would, in other words, picture yourself. The way we do this to encourage other people to lose weight or whatever it is, picture yourself here. This could be you. How do you do that? Well, you have to take them there. So again, kids who are going to college will often visit a campus, but they're already going. They've already decided that, whether they're ready or not, here I come. But I think there's another group of kids who could be on their way to college, but they personally, as I said, have checked out prematurely. The way kids will say, I couldn't be an engineer. Maybe you could. Nursing's not for me. Maybe it would be. They've never been exposed. So I'd love for there to be a way to take this, whatever this group of kids is, to get them to, what are the closest campuses where they might see somebody that looks just like them wandering around? Because this could be you. You could be here. Because if you think about it, for kids who don't have a family experience with college, how do they know what college is? Through popular entertainment. They saw it in a movie. They saw something gothic. There's something exaggerated, or they watched Animal House, for Pete's sake. Whatever it is, they should see something real.
So what are you suggesting, a college tour?
If you will, a college tour for kids who don't think that they're going to college. Again, this is not to push kids into going to college. I don't know how you would identify these kids, but they'd be the ones who, but for them having checked out themselves, would be with the college-bound kids. Okay? Again, this is not to say, hey, college is better than doing a trade or something like that. This is kids who maybe need a little encouragement, if you will. I don't know how you would identify them except one-on-one if the guidance counselors or teachers know who they are. And logistically, you have an issue with how do you get them there? Where do you go? What do you show them? Chaperones and all that. But I think, cost and whatnot. I don't know how many kids we're talking about. Even if it's a small group of kids, even if it's like 5 kids, show them UConn. Go to stores, drive around and say, this could be you. In case you're thinking college isn't for you, picture yourself here if you want to.
I have a friend that does that, but they go to historically black colleges every April, and they have taken kids from Fitch all over southeastern Connecticut, a busload of kids with the chaperones.
Right.
And they go to like 5 colleges. They might go to Hampton, Howard, Morehouse, Spelman, and but historically black colleges.
Is this for the purpose of saying, you might not think you could go to college, but take a look, you probably could, leaving aside other considerations, financial, et cetera. Maybe you just don't score well enough in the SAT or whatever it is. But at least I'm always afraid that kids are making decisions long before they have enough information. And they wind up checking themselves out, and actually they may not even be putting in the effort that they could be putting into classes thinking, you know what, I've already decided internally I'm not going.
That might
So
be
I
a
don't-
budget thing.
So I don't need the A or the B.
Budget.
The C's fine, as long as I graduate, I'm okay. I'm sorry, you're the chair, sorry.
Well, I was saying, I started my career working in education over at Mitchell College, and we used to have buses of students from Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, come visit the college before we would talk to them, go over options for applying, options for financial aid. We had kids from Fitch come, we had kids from New London, we had kids from East Lyme. So it does happen.
But are these the kids that already think that they're college bound? I'm talking about like.
Some are not, yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
what we used to do is we used to try to work with school counselors to find students who, say, hadn't applied to any colleges yet. And maybe it's May after a lot of students commit by May 1st. There's a lot of colleges that are still open enrollment at that point and could be an option. But I think the earlier and the more exposure, I know kids that went to Mitchell because they came and they met myself or someone from the team, or they saw someone like themselves, or they met with a professor. I completely agree. This is something that needs to happen, should be happening. I'm sure it is happening at Fitch. And I know that most schools give students time to go and visit schools. If there isn't a congregated effort looking at whether it's students who don't have a plan, working with school counselors, I think that is something that should happen.
Yeah. And again, it's not to say, college uber alles or anything like that, because that's not the be-all, end-all, but it could be for some kids. It just
Give them
hadn't
the
clicked
option.
yet.
Make them feel like this is within their reach.
Is there,
Wait, Jen had her hand up.
so sorry.
And then
We
Mike
can-
has his hand up.
We could easily, if we can't go to we can easily bring them to Thames River. Like, you could get an associate's degree as long as you come right out of college, and it'd be free. So, I mean, it doesn't need to be it's just exposure, right? So,
I think, because not only.
I hate to do it, but I got to throw out a point of order.
oh, why?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Why?
I just wanted to throw.
We veered into discussion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's
I'm
fine.
caught up in it too.
I didn't know. I don't want to do it.
Okay.
That's not my nature.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Oh, and tomorrow.
Make a referral.
Okay. And tomorrow, by the way, is No Day in Greece, where we said no to the Italians in 1940, October.
Make a
Thank you very
referral,
much.
Dean, and we'll...
About No Day? Oh, no.
No, on what you just talked about.
To the Italians?
Yeah. All right. I forgot this. I wanted to suspend the rule to add an agenda item so we can discuss the district calendar.
Do I get to share communications or no?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So we got communication that the Special Education Committee was formed. And contrary to what my understanding was, there are no board members included in that Special Ed Committee. So I was upset to hear that. I was under one understanding, and there was a change of plans that occurred off-screen somewhere. And I do want to thank everyone else that's sent out their concerns. We've had a few emails that were of a sensitive nature, and they have been referred to the appropriate personnel, just in case anyone was concerned. And that's about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I had one email about, urination up at the baseball field, but it went to John, so it went to you, Susan, but it's the same thing.
Same thing.
We have porta potties up there. We already discussed that. So. Anyway, I'd like to suspend the rules so we can... Go ahead.
Mike.
Oh, Mike, go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
I was wondering, did we miss an agenda item in mine that one after the PEA contract with Pop Flash regarding the superintendent's contract, right?
No, I put that to the end of the meeting. I moved it so we don't have to stop and go. We can just...
Oh, okay.
Okay? All right. So is it all right to have I make a motion to suspend the rules so we could talk about the district calendar?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
good.
let me do that. Motion to suspend the rules.
made the motion. Who seconded?
Adrian.
Okay. And then we got to vote?
Yep, I'm just writing this down.
Gotcha.
Okay, all those in favor, Mike, you have your hand up?
Oh, it's a relic hand, but I am in favor.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Yeah, aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Okay, so it's approved. All right, so when we met with the GEA, I'll pass out. This is the calendar that we came up with. Can you pass one down, Sean? for me? And then when we met with the GEA,
Throw it.
thank you, Adrian. And through our discussions, there was another calendar. This is calendar C. Yes. I don't have a calendar B. Do you have an extra calendar B?
You have it.
I have an extra B. She gave me backup. Erica.
So the GEA would like to start school a little later than we have on our calendar. On our calendar, we have the first day of school as August 27th. They would like the first day of school to be August 31st. And that to start on a Thursday, to start on a Monday. They are good with just having a week and a half for December break, and then ending school a little later.
On the 14th.
On the 14th would be the last day of school.
And it looks like pretty much everything else stays the same.
Yeah, everything else stays the same. So take a quick look at it. On our calendar, the last day of school would be
June 10th.
June 10th. Theirs would be the 14th.
And we still have that week. We typically do graduation on a Friday, but the 18th is going to be Juneteenth recognition, so they said maybe we'd have to do it on the 17th.
Yeah.
Depending on snow days. We never know, right?
So I told them I would bring it forth. Adrian?
Yeah, I was just going to give a little bit more explanation. There was a lot of talk about August being much warmer than June in the weather, being more difficult in the buildings, with the heat, and June not being as great as it was. So that was a big part of it. And also, I think that pushes the teacher start date back to just a week before, which is still 2 weeks before Labor Day. But it pushes the teacher's start date back a little bit. And there was one other, and then, and just pushing it into June. There's one complication to think about was that we will be starting preschool and pre-K on the same day as the rest of the district, which there was a little bit of talk.
No, I don't.
No, we're
That
not.
doesn't happen till 2 days after, so we can screen them.
Oh, all right.
So,
I'm sorry.
that's the
I'm sorry.
2nd of September.
Yeah, never mind. All right, I'll take that part back then. So,
And they want summer to be summer. They don't want summer to be 6 weeks and then the kids are back in school and the beach doesn't close until Labor Day. Hey, I went to school in New York, so I didn't go to school till after Labor Day, which I think is more reasonable than what we have up here in Connecticut, but it is what it is.
We kind of front load our summer programming. We have all those camps, and then we also have the ESY, which is 4 to 6 weeks, and then the credit recovery and enrichment at the high school, and we've even brought in 8th graders who have not done well. So that's kind of important to know, too, that all that is kind of up right after school ends, and then, so it'll give them more time.
Yeah. Ian, you had your hand up?
Yeah. I'm in favor of the draft C here and what the teachers proposed as a adjustment. It makes sense to me. I think if you account for weather days, we're going to end up pretty much right at the end of the week for graduation anyway. So the 17th followed with a Juneteenth holiday, I think would be fine. I had a similar experience. I went to school in New York school, so I went to like starting before Labor Day, it just always seemed like a bit of a ripoff to me. So,
Even for the kids, right?
yeah, so I mean, like my graduation day was June 25th, 1993. So,
Dean went to school in New York.
I did.
Go ahead, Dean, you have your hand up.
So, yeah, I don't think we have a motion regarding the adoption. We had a motion that we voted on to suspend the rules to add this as an agenda item. So I'm going to move the adoption of what's presented to us as School Calendar C, a.k.a. the GA proposed calendar, with the later start date and the later end date.
Second, Thomas.
Okay, now we're official.
Now we can officially start discussion.
Thank you, Dean. Keep us honest there. Any other discussion?
Any discussion?
Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of move to adopt calendar C with a later start date and a later ending date, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Oh, shit.
Yes. Mike is abstaining, and yes for everyone else. Okay, thank you very much. And the next item on the agenda is I'd like to go into executive session to discuss the superintendent's contract. Do I have a motion?
Advanced planning, are we going to do that before this part?
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to do it. I'm just wondering if we should talk about that section before we...
All right, advanced planning, it's on the calendar, it's on the agenda. Any discussion about the advanced planning? Except for Ian, he's going to have a policy meeting on when, Ian? November 9th?
We determined that the 12th was an overlap with an RTM meeting. So we're going to bump to the next day after that?
The 13th.
13th, yeah, that's what I remember.
Thursday the 13th.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
That's the only change on there.
Because I can't be in two places at once.
No, we need your RTM. All right. Now, I'll have don't forget, tomorrow is the town council will be reviewing the operational review. So whoever can go up there and listen or stay home and listen to their meeting will find out what the results of the operation review was.
Do you know what time that meeting is?
They usually start at 6:30.
Are we invited to sit at the table and also ask questions about
No,
the
we're not.
report?
No.
We
Will
are,
we
you're not.
receive a copy of the report?
Not yet. After the town council gets the report.
Is the report done?
Yeah, it's going to be presented tomorrow.
In a final state, or is it
I
open-ended?
don't know. All I know is tomorrow, John Burt said the town council will be reviewing, being presented the operational review. I think they already have it. I think they're looking at it. It must come in their packet. I mean, you would know better than me. It must come in their packet, and they must be looking at it.
Packets don't always get delivered on time.
Okay, well, anyway, if you can listen or attend, we're not invited at the table, but you can go sit in the audience or just do it from home. It's easier.
And I'll be at Ernie's.
Okay, so a motion to,
Have I got a quick question?
yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Before I make that motion, is it going to be in person only or hybrid?
It's going to be in person only.
Then I request a 5-minute recess.
Okay. We have a 5-minute recess.
Is he 5 minutes away?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're on recess now? No.
We're Mr. Rowland, I think that's how you pronounce his name, said today I will be writing a referral to policy to look at the Title IX policy. Okay, do I have a motion to go into executive session to talk about the superintendent's contract?
Second.
Second.
The second was Member Whitney, who does not have a microphone right now.
Oh,
So,
you need to take one.
Share.
You'll share.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Okay. All right, we're in executive session. Mark, you can turn.